All right, folks. So Frank is no longer in a Hezbollah safe room. He is now in a Al Nusra Front safe room.
For the folks at home, that's Jewy talk for I moved to a different place.
Jewy. Everybody heard about Al Nusra Front in the news. Even
nobody knows.
Actually, non-Jews probably heard it more than us.
Nobody, no, I don't even know what Al Nusra Front is.
Al Nusra Front was one of the groups fighting alongside ISIS versus Assad. It was a very famous group.
That's like Obama when he's like, instead of calling them ISIS, he's like
ISIL. Well, I mean, he was doing that for a reason, right? Levant. He made like the Levant.
I know, but that's he was trying to show you how
educated he is,
familiar he is, and
yeah, how educated. Yeah. With all the things that he learned from his mentors, Edward Said and Rashid Khalidi.
The more these kind of like leftist, pretentious little pricks, try to sound like worldly, and like they say Pakistan.
Yeah,
I felt like originally I was say Pakistan because that's how I heard it said, but now I'm going to say Pakistan. Just to not be like them.
Just to piss people off.
I don't care if it's wrong. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I know how much it makes you crazy.
Yeah.
When Americans mispronounce Russian hockey players' last name, like who's the one that you had a problem with?
There was like Khmylev, like Khmylev, Harlamov, Fedorov, like Fyodorov, Kovalyov.
Kovalev, all right? It's Fedorov and Kovalev, all right? All right, and Indians aren't Indians; they're Indians. All right, I'm sick of this shit.
Tired
is nonsense. Both Eastern and Western Indians, like Native Americans, Indians.
Yeah.
Indians from India.
Who was that comedian? He's like, was it Robin Williams or somebody? He's like Red Dot or Slurpee. Really messed up.
No, that was Patrice O'Neill.
Oh yeah, he's like Red Dot Indian or Slurpee Indian.
He's like, what kind of woo woo or the dot? Woo 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 or the dot? Yeah. That's what he kept saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's like, I'm a racist, but he didn't even finish the sentence. Everybody was laughing.
Yeah, it's mad funny. We have a special guest today. He's gonna come on, God willing, in like 5 or 10 minutes.
Folks, we have a guest that's going to bring the house down.
He's going to bring the house down. He's already been, I'm not going to say what about. I'm just going to say that he's already been interviewed recently in the last, few days by NBC, by CNN.
Lamestream Media.
Yes, by CNN, by NBC, by Cuomo on News Nation, Chris Cuomo, a.k.a. Fredo, by, who else? A few of these news outlets, major news outlets. And
folks, can I just jump in for a second? Folks, This is our buddy Greg knows him much longer than me.
I know him for like 12 years.
Yeah, he's just an interesting dude, and we had him on the show just to talk. And he's not famous for anything except being a good magician.
Yeah,
he's like an entertainer.
He used to perform with like Chris Angel and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like an amazing magician. Okay, and he's like one of these guys who's like he's a rolling stone, as they say.
Yeah.
And and all of a sudden he just like is.
He's catapulted.
He got Forrest Gumped into something.
It's kind of like your brother got catapulted into the.
No, not like my brother. Like me.
Like you also.
My brother belonged there. I got Forrest Gumped into it, and so did Paul. Okay.
What? I mean, not that I think your brother doesn't belong there, but what makes you think that your brother inherently would?
No, because
belong there?
No, because he's a brilliant doctor.
Okay.
He had that kind of persona anyway. He had gravitas.
Yeah.
It makes sense that he ended up where in the spotlight. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe listen, Paul too. It's just so it's like.
All right. Here's the outlets that Paul was written up about recently in the last few days: CNN, AP, Seattle Times, NBC, PBS, New York Post, Daily Mail, Patch, Washington Examiner, Mediaite. Wow.
Mediaite.
CBS. Hold on, not CBS News. I'm sorry, dude.
Yo.
I was just reeling off all the news outlets that have published articles about you in the last
hacks. All of them hacks.
hacks, media hacks. Yeah.
Are we live already?
Yes, we are, sir. We were just I was testing out the machinery, so it's good that you're on.
Nice, beautiful. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Paul,
Dude.
Paul, before you start.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm less familiar with what's going on than most people. So
Okay.
So I need you to explain to me from the very beginning, as if I was a potato, what the hell is going on?
The short version.
Oh, give us a long version, bro.
Oh, the long version.
I'll give you the short. We're going to be on for a minute. So the short version is a political consultant by the name of Steve Kramer hired me to do consulting for him with artificial intelligence. He told me at the time that he was working for Lindsey Graham, and I made 2 recordings of Lindsey Graham. And after that, I came back about a week later, asked him to do it again. I asked him if we were going to keep working together, and he said no. They were going to use a studio. And then about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, he calls me back and says, can you do Biden? And I said, sure, no problem. Send me the script. I'll send you the audio. He sent me the script. And then 3 days later, he released it to the public. Now, the bad part of it is that the recording said to not vote in the primaries. And it was Biden's voice telling people not to vote. So that is where voter suppression is involved.
Okay, so just to back up, so this guy asked you to make a recording that sounds like these political figures.
Yes,
and you did that using AI.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is for the purpose of campaign stuff.
Yeah, and the whole concept from the beginning was we're going to do this to attempt to see if one of these super PACs or PACs are wanting to do it, or any one of the campaigns, and so then that way he'd be able to sell it to a lot of people. And I was more than happy to be the guy that was going to be the guy to make the money off of, doing these recordings. Sorry. Come on, Miss. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I have like a million things going on. So that's basically what happened. Come on, Miss. Still getting into the room.
Okay, so
we got cats, we got dogs, we got all that kind of stuff.
I got a baby in the background. I'm moving. So the guy. So the controversy is that you made a recording on his request of Biden telling people don't vote in the primary. Yeah, basically that's the whole fiasco. For the point of like don't vote because that way he'll stay. I don't know. This is where it gets confusing. I don't know why he did it. If he did it because he was working for the senator, it makes no sense, because the senator's a Democrat. The person that he supposedly is working for and got paid $200 and some odd thousand. He is obviously he's obviously working for this other guy and not what he said he was doing. So can you say the name of the senator? I believe his name is Dean. Is his last name?
Philip. No, last name is Phillips. Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips. Sorry, Dean Phillips is his name. Yeah. And he was paid. Dean Phillips paid Kramer's company $200 and something thousand, $275, $280 something $1,000. Now, what needs to be understood is that $280,000 does not go to Steve Kramer. Steve Kramer has to hire people that do door to door, people that are getting signatures. He pays per signature, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So the money that he's getting is used to promote and to get people on the ballot. That's what he does. Now, as of everything that's happening, we're seeing more and more that he has been going down the tubes for the past 10 years. Everything that he has tried to do, he's either been sued or people walk away saying he didn't do the job correctly, or at one point someone said that some of the signatures that were acquired were people who were already passed away. So it's very nefarious work on his end. He's not on the up and up, is the best way to put it.
Okay, so the question is, I guess the question remains, why did he want a robocall with Biden?
Oh, okay, so yeah, so that's simple, but it seems to be that give me 1 second.
All right.
I left it in my room. I'll be back. The political world or the world of mass media is begging to use artificial intelligence in the manner of creating media. There's a Instagram page. It's called Talentless AI. If you want to look it up. And the latest post is a reporter that's not real with a script that was made by an AI and a voice that's made by AI. And it's a person acting out the entire thing. So like I worked for a company called 5 Tier in New York about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and we were able to deal with 4.5 million data points per second. And each person is about anywhere from 15 to 1,800 points, and that creates an avatar. And that could be anything from the toothpaste that you have to the car that you drive to literally everything. And the company itself doesn't need to necessarily have everything on you. They may just have a phone number or just an email or just a name or any of those kind of things. And then they can go from that and start to create your avatar. Let's say they just only have an email. They can then go with that email. Give me a second. They can go with that email. Where we go? Oh, dude, no, what happened? What happened? Sorry, please forgive me. They can go with that email and we can start to go to all the other APIs, Google, Facebook, so on and so forth. And if your email is there, then all of a sudden your avatar starts to appear more and more to us, because now that we have your email, we now have your Facebook profile, we now have a date, we have a date of birth, we have your full name, we have family members, we have all these other things that you can then start to create more and more data points for that specific avatar. Now, in the realm of politics, they are using those avatars that are being created, whether left-leaning, right-leaning, or in the center, and then pushing you in the direction that they want to push you in based on the media that they start to feed you and put into your social media feeds, i.e. the TikTok, i.e. the Facebook Reels, i.e. all of that stuff. And so what they try to do is they try to push you in the directions they want to go in. So there's 4 or 5 companies that I know of already that are political-based companies, that are marketing political-based companies that aim to push people into the directions they want. So if you are left-leaning but you're center, we can push you over to the center, more to the right, basically. And how do we do that? We create media that fits the genre that we want, and we have that specifically hit targeted words or targeted things that you're already interested in. And you can now have a YouTube channel, for instance, that is left-leaning center pushing to the right, and then throw that content to that left-leaning person and push them more to the center, push them more to the right. Same thing. Somebody's all the way center, but we want them to vote Republican, then we push them towards Republican. If we want to vote them, make them vote Democrat, we can push them to vote Democrat. How do you do that? By putting in the right context media that will get them to go, oh yeah, you know what? Maybe he has a point. And that small little switch then feeds into a resounding chamber of that.
Paul and I were thinking about, Frank, you asked why somebody would do this. We're thinking about all the different, all the different scenarios. Some people with like a lot of people in these comments, they're saying that, it's like, oh, it might be some Trump put him up to something. We were saying that basically this guy, Phillips, right? Even though he paid all this money, he probably, he's got all these staffers, so he probably never met this Kramer guy.
I don't think he ever met him.
It's probably true that he never met him.
Yeah, and in the when I did Cuomo the other night, he had him on, and he said emphatically, like, I never met this guy. Mm-hmm. And Cuomo gets really upset. He's like, "What do you mean you don't know me? You paid him $275,000. How could you not know the guy?" Yeah. And he's like, he says the DNC makes it very hard for anybody for Republicans to get onto the ballot. So what they have to do is they have to pay these second-rate and third-rate style characters to get them onto the ballot, and they charge a mountain load of money. Yeah. And wait, he got paid $275,000. I think was for 2 states. 2 states, not like the whole United States. 2 states. And one of them was New York, and the other one I think was New Hampshire. I think. And this senator, the person we're talking about, admitted to paying over $2 million this year to characters just like that, just so that he could get on the ballot. And he attempted to say to Chris Cuomo, "Oh, well, you know what I'm talking about because of your brother and all of the stuff that he's in, and which is true." Mm-hmm. And so, and Cuomo admits it right there and then. He's like, "No, you're right. It's a very dirty game. It's a dirty game." Yeah. And that's just the truth of it all. It's a dirty game. And this guy Kramer has seemingly been playing the game for quite some time, and at the same time, it seems as though, like I said, he has been going down the drain, not necessarily up the drain, sewage pipes and all, but something to that effect, where he has been losing his clients over and over and over again for whatever reason, for whatever something happened or so on and so forth. No?
So tell us, how did you meet this guy?
Okay, so that's where the story. This is when the story starts to actually get elongated. Okay,
hang on. I'm sorry. Just so
anything.
So again, I'm revealing how dumb I am, but the reason why someone would want to have a robocall of Biden saying don't vote in the primary means that he's the incumbent, and if you don't vote, then he just remains the Democratic nominee, right? That's the point of it.
It makes no sense, my friends. It makes no sense. Whatever reason he did it for, don't know. I don't know. I don't know the man's intention, where he came from, why. I don't know. All I know, the only thing that I can think of, because this is not a person, in my opinion, from everything that I haven't hung out with him like forever or anything, but he does not seem like the kind of person that would run a gambit like this and actually know all the moves as he's making them. He does not seem like that guy at all. He seems like a guy who has a small company that charges exuberant amounts of money to get people to sign petitions, and that's it. That's what it seems like to me. He's not a multimillionaire. He doesn't live in some kind of palatial home. right now he's, renting supposedly from Biden, and he's living in, I should say the Biden campaign, and he's staying at the Biden house. I still to this day believe that. Because nothing has told me otherwise.
You're saying Biden house? Is this a house?
Go ahead.
Well, is this a house that like the Biden family owns, or is this like a Biden campaign house?
I think it's a campaign house, is what he said, and in turn, he needed a place because he was working for them, and they said okay, and then that was it.
So again, just to explain to me, like I'm a potato. What is the controversy? What is it that made everybody go like, whoa, and then now you're on the news?
Okay, so the big controversy is that somebody impersonated the president of the United States and then on top of that, it's voter suppression because in the statement that was given, it was don't vote. So it's two things. One is an AI generated recording, and the other thing is what the recording said. So, I guess the real two laws that are broken here is what the statement says, and that in fact it was actually distributed. So you can make the statement all you want. I can go to 11 Labs, make another thing. Like I did it on my Facebook page where I have I have Biden with his lips moving saying, "This is the end of media as we know it. Next question." Because I think we're 6 to 9 months away from everybody having to go to a agreed upon website in which you will put your the input of a YouTube video or the input of an audio or the input of a video and ask, is this real? Because we will not be able to tell in 6 months. If Sora, which just came out 5 days ago, is showing videos that are absolutely astronomical compared to anything that's been out there so far, in 6 months, that's going to be old news. I mean, that's how fast AI moves. It doesn't move at the beat of what we used to think of a human heartbeat. It moves at an AI beat, and that's much faster and at a faster click. And so the book that I just finished writing, which is called The 7 Types of Human, and then the other one is called The 5 War Theory, is my philosophical ponderings on what I believe is going to happen next to both humanity and to the next 5 wars that we are going to have.
5, wow! And how? And what time? In what time frame?
So I'm gathering like every 50 years because that's usually how it happens with humanity. But right now we're in the middle of one, right? So what's happening in Europe? In Israel. Is a war that's based on religion, but it's actually based on either it works or it doesn't work. The machine works or the machine does not work. And we can all see the machine that has worked, which has lasted thousands upon thousands of years. It's lasted throughout every civilization and every big, every big civilization that's ever been around, and we're still here. So guess which one works and guess which one doesn't.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So that's the first of. And I said this at the beginning on the 7th, on the 8th or the 9th, I said it's Israel against the world. And what I meant by that was, look at how everybody's jumping on the back of Israel and saying, Israel's amazing. They should totally defend themselves. They should totally do their thing.
Whoop.
We'll be jumping off like fleas and saying that, oh, Israel this, and oh, Israel that. Oh, look at this. And I mean, word for word, what I said was going to happen has happened.
Yeah.
So then the next war that we're going to deal with is another ideological war based on whether we accept or do not accept technology into our bodies. And that's obviously going much further than just having a pacemaker or having some, body part that we put in. We're talking about Neuralink, and we already know that the person who has Neuralink in his brain is now using a mouse on a computer.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the 7 types of humans, 6 already exist. The first is indigenous. Mm-hmm. They never touch cell phones. They never want a cell phone. That They want the earth and that's it. 2 is people like you and me. We have cell phones, but we're almost cyborg, where if I lose my cell phone, I start to freak out. I don't have my wallet. I don't have my phone. I don't have my anything. Right? Then the 3rd is the genetically modified human. And those are already existing because we've had genetically engineered babies for the past 10, 15 years. So we already have genetically modified in some way babies that have already been born and already came out of a test tube and so on and so forth. The 4th type of human is technically, in some way, changed through the mind with a computer. Neuralink already exists. The 5th is a overwatched society, already exists. We have China. Then number 6 is the oligarchical version of the first 5 that we just mentioned. So the people who have enough money to be able to do anything like plastic surgery or blah, 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 whatever, they'll be the first ones to do it. They'll be the first ones with lasers coming out of their eyes or monkey butts or whatever they choose to do, because they will choose to do those things.
Sharks with laser beams on their foreheads.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. On some stupid level, that's what they kind of want to start doing. And then the next is going to be with the 7th type of human, and I believe this is 15 years away, genetically modified nanotechnology baby. So what we're looking at is one of 2 things. If we're going to look at it from a doomsday scenario, that's the end of humanity as we know it. We're the last bastions of humanity, and what's going to happen from now into the next 250 years is the culmination of transhumanism and eugenics, without a shadow of a doubt. Like, it's going to happen no matter what we say. Like, I know you don't want to hear that, but that's what's going to happen. And the reason that I say that is,
I don't mind people. If somebody says something that I don't agree with, I don't mind hearing it. It's fine. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
My point of view is that there's a pattern in humanity which is undeniable, which is people had intentions, but it ended up the way things ended up happening was not what they wanted to happen. It always ends up being whatever God decides.
God usually unravels it, and I think I told you, yeah.
So basically, whatever the oligarchs or whoever, think that whatever they think they're doing, whatever they think they're working towards, all they're doing is serving the creator, who's not going to allow them to unravel their plan, to unravel his plan. And they're going to discover that everything they're doing is only to serve him, whether it doesn't matter what their intention is. But that's what's going to happen.
And I agree. Frank, I agree. But my question to you is, are we at our evolutionary pinnacle, or is there more for us to do? Well, and if there is more, okay, hold on, let me finish. If there is more for us to do, then are we fighting over candles and electricity right now?
There's more for us to do, in the sense that we're going to be introduced to the technology that we already were stuffed into. Let's put it that way. Let's say the human body. You know how, like, people who are into phones, and then they're like, do you have any idea what you have in your hand? Do you know the features it has? You can do this, you can do that, and you can discover all of its features for eternity. Well, that's what the human body is. We don't know anything. We don't understand the technology that we're in. Mm-hmm. So that's what's going to be uncovered.
So then my next question for you would be, do you feel that we are in a, what's the word I'm looking, a fractal, and we are part of the fractal, and we are in essence part of the entropy of the fractal, and in essence we are recreating the creation?
Oh, okay. So part of what you said is, I believe, correct. I was just talking yesterday. So basically, in advanced Torah studies, we learned that the human being, when any human being looks at themselves, we realize that we are a mini universe. Literally, the universe that we were like born into is in the design of man. And the more we understand about our own design, the more we understand about the universe. We're like a mini map. So just here, what does that mean? I'm going to give you like a hyperbolic example. Let's say, in 3,000 years, when we start to really understand the human body, we'll be like, how do we travel to, I don't know, the Alpha Centauri galaxy? Okay, the Alpha Centauri galaxy is in the it's in the right pinky of the universe. Whatever. I'm being right. So then you would concentrate on your right pinky. You would travel to Alpha Centauri because your right pinky is connected to the right pinky of the universe.
To Alpha Centauri. Right. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So that kind of delves into what I'm saying, just in a different manner of thinking. So I truly believe that we, as our essence as human beings, is to want to become conscious light. So in other words, we travel at the speed of light, but we're conscious about it, and anything that I think of can become creation. In other words,
that's what the Torah tells us. I mean, when Mashiach comes,
okay. So if that's the case,
people will be resurrected. Yep. They will have bodies of light, like the original Adam. That's it.
Okay. So if that's the case, then everything I'm talking about is exactly like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, it's a scary idea, and you have to think that
it's not scary. It's what we're working towards. Like.
It's scary in the sense of what happens in between here and there.
Yeah, the
level of depravity, the level of depravity, the level of insanity, the level of too much is going to come in a way that I don't believe the general public are ready to deal with. It's like go to an ayahuasca ceremony, hang out for a bunch of months, like I have, and then deal with reality, and then have everybody else come to you and be like, yo, how are you able to deal with this? Well, I did 3 months of ayahuasca. This is normal to me. That's what's about to happen. So that world of when you are on a DMT trip, right, and you get what I like to call into the fit space. So there's levels to ayahuasca, right, or to DMT travel. You're supposed to take 3 very definitive, very heavy hits. And for me, my process is first, it's a very a high-pitched tone that goes into an infinite like parabellum until it goes into white noise, and then all of a sudden you see a white light, and then you go through the white light, and then there's beings that you end up interacting with, and that's where most people stop. The next space from there is a full disconnection of self and a full retrieval of going back to source and being in source conscious. And that's the part where people, when they come back, they go, oh, I need to change my life. Oh, whoa, like everything I thought I knew, but I was wrong. I now know that we're all interconnected. I now know that we're all one. I now know that I am part of everything, and everything is part of me, and everything that I do is part of everything. And oh my God, it's amazing. I have to go share this. And people change their lives 180. Look at Jim Carrey. He went from being the greatest, most famous actor in the world, did some DMT and some ayahuasca, and bye-bye. He's now a painter.
Frank and I had discussions about this substance.
So Greg, what it sounds like to me, Paul is saying is that people aren't ready to see the Marshmallow Man walking down Park Avenue.
That's what I've been telling you.
No, they're not.
That's what I've been telling you, man. They're
not ready.
You know what? I think they are. We might disagree a little bit on
that. You know how I know they're not ready? Because of what happened to me this weekend. Because of what happened to me this weekend is the first time that I've ever been able to recognize what, it's not fame and it's not infamy. It's the way that people react and interact with information that's not full. So in other words, the title of the original Alex White's his thing that he put out says,
this is the journalist on NBC that wrote the article about Paul.
Yes. Democratic. What was it? I don't remember the title now. It makes it sound like he's like some cloak and dagger Democratic character that hired a magician, that the magician made the robocalls, and that this was all paid for by a dean. That's not at all the story, right? It's not at all the story. And so it's a gentleman who owns a company that works both sides of the aisle, hired a AI specialist to help him understand AI, and he then took internal documents and released them. That's the truth.
Can you explain to me about the internal documents? What does that mean?
So everything that I was sending to him was not to be distributed. It was, I'm going to the prospective group and saying, here's an audio. What do you guys think? Instead of going to the studio and spending money and all this time and effort, and what if he's sick and what if he doesn't record it well, we can just use this machine, push play on the ad copy we all agree with, bring it back, listen to it. Does it sound like him? Do you agree to what it says? Yes. Send it out. Much easier. Much cheaper. I mean, you're saving $1,000 to $3,000 every time you go to a studio. You need an engineer, you need a person, you have the editor, you have to cut it down. There's so much work involved.
Right.
And I can just do all of that by just copy, paste, generate, and there you go. And then the team says yes. Who wouldn't say yes to this? And this was part of the article that Kramer wrote, that is an op-ed that he put out, which all of the newspapers are now just grabbing whatever pieces they want out of the op-ed. But nonetheless, in this op-ed, he is trying to tout himself as though he did this all for a reason. He's trying to be like Paul Revere and be the warning shot. He is bravado. He has a bravado about him. He's like, look, I spent $5 million or $500 and I got $5 million plus dollars of advertising out of this. And I made the government move faster because of my actions. So he's trying to like twist it to where, and he's also like, oh, I'm here to warn people about AI, which is the conversation I had with him. So it's like, you've already been found to be a liar. You've already been found to be a guy who does bad business with people, and you're getting sued left and right. And now you're going to steal from the street magician guy who gave you the whole concept in the first place?
So that's the controversy? That like...
The controversy is that he went behind the back of both Biden and Lindsey Graham, made recordings of them, and released those recordings without my knowledge and without the knowledge of those people.
Okay, so officially, but unofficially, do you think that they were on board? Can you even speculate on that without getting in trouble?
I don't think so.
No.
I honestly think after his phone call with me after the day after it happened, I think he was in a drunken stupor. He was on drugs and he put it out thinking he wasn't going to get caught because he didn't get caught for the first one, which was Lindsey Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought that since that Lindsey Graham one didn't get enough publicity or didn't get enough whatever he wanted out of it, he did the Clinton or the Biden one so that he could actually get the noise that he wanted out there from the conceptual ideas that I was talking about how crazy everything's about to get.
So he basically tried to co-opt. He's tried to co-opt your whole situation, your whole thing, basically.
Well, he took it to a place I would have never gone. Right? I would have never gone there. Yeah. But yeah, he took it to a place he shouldn't have taken it to, and now he's going to do jail time without a shadow of a doubt. Now he's he's already been subpoenaed by the FCC.
Oh, he has.
He's already yeah. And mind you, he never came out. He never came to the public and said, I'm the guy. No. Instead, it had to take the magician hypnotist that pushed him to have to say something. Now, here's the other part that's amazing. And if this isn't Hashem, I don't know what is. But he had made his op-ed and gave it to his publicist on a Friday evening at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
By chance and chance alone, his publicist is very, very religious and went to Shabbat.
Oh, man,
and didn't put it out until Sunday.
Dude. You and I were talking about how this is all Hashem doing this.
From
start to
after
finish.
Everything I've done in my life, after all the crazy thing I've tried so many different ways to become well known so that I could have my platform to talk to people and say, look, I want to love you. I want to share with you. I want to grow with you. I want to build with you. I want to show the world what it can be a good person can be, even if they have nothing. And I've never had that platform. And now I have that platform on a level I've never thought of having it.
Paul,
so
I was just going to say real quick. I mean, there's a video of Kramer from 2 hours ago. This is a brand new video on CBS News. He's like explaining to some reporter why he did this, or why he put you up to this.
Yeah, he's saying that he did it as a warning shot, that anybody can do it. That look at what I got for $500. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, but
wait, guys. Before you play this video, I just want to I want to communicate an emotion.
Can we hear this video as well? Can we hear the audio on it?
Yeah, I will.
Can you hold it for a minute?
Video?
Yeah, I'm holding it.
Sure.
I just want to say I'm extremely disappointed that some guy other than Lindsey Graham and Biden are getting in trouble. I was picturing Biden and Lindsey Graham as cellmates. You know what I mean? Like,
so no, but you have to understand,
snuggling with each other.
Yeah, Biden and Lindsey Graham had nothing to do with this.
Damn it.
From what I'm gathering at this point, I don't think that he ever worked for Biden at this point.
I don't think so either.
And if he did, it's like some deep state.
Frank, I'm telling you, we were trying to unravel this thing already a few times, and
yeah, it just makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense.
It's a mystery. So let's see.
Yeah, no, and just adding me into the mix is even more of a what the,
Yeah. All right, so this is Steve Kramer, I guess.
I want to hear this. I've been wanting to see this anyway, so this is great.
Represents several New York politicians, admits that he is the man behind the fake robocall telling Biden supporters not to vote in New Hampshire. And he told CBS 2's political reporter Marsha Kramer why he did it.
And Marsha is here now to explain what is going on here. Marsha.
Maurice and Christine, when I was in New Hampshire covering the presidential primary, I had no idea that the mastermind of a campaign to get Democrats to boycott the primary was a man well known to political cognoscenti here in New York. His name is Steve Kramer, and for the record, we are not related.
They sent me a piece of mail, a subpoena, in order to be able to turn over some documents, which I fully intend to do.
Steve Kramer, well known in Albany and City Hall political circles, owning up to the fact that he was subpoenaed by the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, as the man who orchestrated a stunning and contentious robocall that used artificial intelligence in a so-called deep fake move to suppress Democratic voter turnout in the New Hampshire primary.
Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday.
The robocall did not stop New Hampshire Democrats from successfully writing in Joe Biden's name, since he was not on the ballot. That's because the calls only went to a limited number of people, 5,000 voters. Kramer says he was just trying to draw attention to the need of the FCC and state and local governments to set rules governing the use of AI in political campaigns. He says the $500 he spent on the Biden robocalls was money well spent.
We're going to explain after we want to hear Kramer speaking why that's total horse manure, what he's saying.
For me to do that and get $5 million worth of exposure, not for me, kept myself anonymous so that the regulations could just play themselves out, or at least begin to play themselves out. I don't need to be famous. That's not my intention. My intention was to make a difference.
Artificial intelligence has been used by a number of politicians. Mayor Adams used AI to generate calls in languages he doesn't speak, like Mandarin and Yiddish, to promote city hiring events. A PAC supporting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign used AI to deepfake Donald Trump's voice.
I got sick of it. I've since November's election.
How was that not illegal?
So basically, he's trying to make it seem like he did this to expose to people that what's happening, that there's
how we know that that's BS? You know how we know that that's BS? Because he was gonna use a studio. He was gonna use Paul's stuff, but then he said, I'm gonna use it. And Paul has you have a whole text sequence.
So the text message, we went through, I said the story already, but we went through Lindsey Graham for 2.5 weeks. And the whole time it was when I went back to him after the second time of doing re-edits for him, that he sent the edit and I just sent him a new audio. And I asked him a week later, a week and a half later, like, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, no, they're just going to go use the studio. They're not going to do the AI thing. And I was like, oh, that sucks. Okay, no problem. And then a week and a half later, hey, can you do Biden? Yeah, no problem. Bing, bing. So I think, once again, this is what happened. He did Lindsey Graham. It didn't get the hit that he wanted. He did Biden, and that got the hit that he wanted. In the end, he wants to become famous. He says he doesn't want to be famous. He wants to be famous like he is drunk on alcohol. He wants it so badly, he'll do anything for it. Obviously.
Hey, Paul, can I hire you to make an AI recording of Lindsey Graham saying the following? Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Can you do that for me?
I could, if you'd like. I will make you a Lindsey Graham cartoon.
Yes.
Of him with his lips moving, saying the exact line that you asked me to say, which I believe is the Oppenheimer line, which he's using from Kali, right? The Bhagavad Gita, right? Kali, I am the death, right.
Okay, and the reason I want that for Lindsey Graham is because Lindsey Graham is the most aggressive person who wants to destroy the world. He's trying to start World War III like nobody's business. Like it's
like it's almost as if he's investing in the companies that are going to be involved in these wars. It's almost as if. Almost
as if. Yeah. So that's so to go way back in the questioning of things is, how did I meet Kramer? So this is a very kind of long version of this, but I'll try to shorten it up. Some 10, 12 years ago, I started going to New Orleans as a street performer. I was an apprentice for Harry Anderson, and was with Harry. Yeah, was with him for 3 months, and 3 days before Katrina, I left.
I can't believe that. I've just got, me and my wife are going through the whole series of Night Court. We're just watching Night Court.
No way.
Yeah.
You want some great tidbit of information that you don't know that's awesome? If you look in his office, in the back left of him, he's got a Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's the real Maltese Falcon from the movie.
Wow. That guy's.
And he still had it. And wait, hold on. Even better, he still had it when he was in New Orleans. He kept it, and he never gave it back. But mind you, this was way, way before memorabilia was a thing. So what happened was so the story is very cool. Harry Anderson's a kid. He's in Haight-Ashbury area. He's hanging out with Penn and Teller, and he's hanging out with this comedian. What's his name? Very famous. Did the movie about a doctor. Robin Williams. The four of them were hanging out. They would always hang out together. He was known as Harry the Hat. That was always his moniker. And he was a guy who liked to do magic versions of street hustles without hustling people, but still hustling people. Right. But not in the nefarious, let me do 3-card Monty, or let me do a ball and all, none of that. He would do like bar bets and stuff like that. So while
he was on Cheers doing it too, like a couple times.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you how that happens.
All right.
So he's on Haight-Ashbury, and he ends up getting $20 off of some guy. He said he was a kid. And when I see 20-something years old at the time, he was probably 20-something at the time as well. But nonetheless, months later, he's at the Magic Castle. And he's hanging out with the famous of the famous, the professor, all of the greats of the magic community. And they're playing canasta at the Magic Castle. And he is always winning, repeatedly winning. And they just start like, who are you, kid? How are you so good, And they didn't know this, but he was actually a card manipulator. But when he would shuffle cards, he intentionally made it look like he didn't know how to shuffle, but he would shuffle in the cards to the sections that he wanted. The guy was a genius, by the way. So anyway, so he's at the Magic.
Sorry. For the folks at home, we're talking about, if you ever watched, there was a show in the 80s called Night Court. He played the judge.
Yeah. And he also had a TV show called Dave's World right after that. He was on TV for 13 years straight, by the way, from Night Court to Dave's World, and then went to prison. I'll tell you the whole story.
All right.
So nonetheless, he's in a magic castle, and the kid, call him a kid, that he took the $20 from, and mind you, we're talking $20 back then was like $100 today. Okay. So he walks in, and the guy points right at Harry and goes, "You're the guy who screwed me for the $20 on the street with that card trick." In front of the professor, in front of all these people, like, all these guys that were like the best of the best. And they were like, "Oh, you son of a bitch." And then the guy turns and goes, No. I've been looking for you everywhere, man. And he's like, "Oh God, what? I'll give you the $20. Like, what's the big deal?" He's like, "No, dude, I'm a producer for television, and we've got this brand new show, and it's about these people who work at a bar, and we want you to come in and do bar bet. It'll be a thing. Every episode, you'll come in and do a bar bet." So he goes and starts doing Cheers, and he's on the first 8 episodes.
Yeah.
That same producer comes back to him on episode 6 or 7 and goes, "Bro, your dailies are amazing. The people at the top absolutely love you. Now I've got to ask you a really weird question. Would you like to audition for a TV show about a guy who's a magician but also a judge at night in New York?" And he's like, "Yes." Like, there was no questioning of it. He's like, "Yes." And then they were like, "Cool." He walked in and they gave it to him. They walked in, did one thing, and they were like, "Oh, he's the guy." And that was it.
I just wanted to say something. People don't realize, like, if you grew up when we grew up, how ingrained that man is into the depths of your soul and your psyche. If you watch Night Court, which most people did, I'm rewatching it. I'm like, that's where I got that notion from. It was from him.
And Frank, isn't it crazy that you and I have been playing the theme of Night Court the last few episodes, and now all is here.
Yo, can you play it right now? Just for not the whole thing, just for like.
Facebook is gonna zap us if I play it.
Yeah, they'll zap us. Yeah, they'll zap. It's so funny now that I've gotten some modicum of viewerships, bro. I'm getting left and right. "Oh, this has been taken away. Oh, this part of your video is now clipped because you have an audio." I was like, bro, I had the artist on. The artist who made the songs, and he was like, "Yo, play my video." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I got permission from the artist. What more do I need? Like, no.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Greg to understand. I don't give a damn if we get zapped on Facebook.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I told Facebook folks, please go.
No, because we have our loyal. Because we have our nice, very nice people.
I know, but
watching,
we want them to come to a place where we can talk without getting zapped. Like,
but they're lazy. No, I'm just kidding. Here, folks, this is the Night Court. But anyway, no, I just want to hear Paul. You were talking about how, like, New Orleans and how you got into this whole.
How I met the guy in the first place, right? Yeah, but the story is, I started going to New Orleans. That's why I met Harry, spent 3 months with him, left, came back. And the next time that I'm there, I think I'm about 32. I was back from Israel. Around that time, I believe. And I meet this guy, Colin Gilmartin. And I meet Colin through a Craigslist date. Okay, so I meet the girl on Craigslist. And she's like, "You have to meet my friend. He's from Boston. He's super fun." And I was like, "Okay, let's go to his house." And we went to his house, and then I met him. I told him I was a street performer. And he's like, "Yo, if you ever need a place to crash, you could take either one of the rooms or crash on the couch. Pay me like $50 a week." And I'm like, "That's cheap for a freaking street performer." I did, And he always had pot. So that for me, that's a win-win situation. So over the years, I would go and stay with him when I came into town to go street perform during season. And over the course of one period of time, we wrote a book together. Well, I helped him write the book. It's called Dream Training. And we spent 6-7 months, like every single day, like ding, working on this thing and projects and all these ideas. And he was super dynamic at that point in his life. And I'm not sure exactly what happens, but he got in some kind of trouble and he lost his gig as a soccer coach. At some point in time, he sends drugs to his house with my name on the package. Right there and then, I stopped talking to him. I walk away. I call the FBI, the CIA, the NSA. I leave messages like, I'm not the guy. I'm a magician. I work at MGM. I'm chilling. I'm out. I go work at MGM for a couple of years at the Beau Rivage. I was doing 8 shows a week there. I did 2 seasons. It was great. And then over a period of time, he ends up calling me and saying, I'm sorry for everything that happened, and apologizes. And I'm one of these people, man. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you screw me over and you earnestly come to me and say, I'm sorry, I'm totally going to be okay with it, and I'm going to give you another try. And I'll probably do that about 3 times in my life. All right? So that happens. Second time, he's like, I'm like, yo, I was wondering if I could come through. I haven't talked to you in a while. Are you still doing the crazy drug things? Like, nah, it's so slow. No, I'm not doing that anymore. Don't worry about it. Cool. So I cut to town, and I think it's the second or third night that I'm there. He's like, hey, I'm going to go to my old building, because he owned a building and he had like tenants, and I need to pick up a check from one of my tenants. Do you mind going? And I'm like, no, let's go. So we go there, and that ends up being the night that I get shot. I get shot in the hip, and he gets shot 6 times. And it was all based over a drug deal with some guy. I don't even know the guy. I don't know what happened. If I would have known it was a drug deal, I would have never fucking gone. I was just going because he needed to go pick up a check. So after that happens, I can't move for like about a month. My right leg was completely, I had a hole basically going through my leg. So once that finally cured out, I took off and I stopped talking to the guy. I never see him again. 3 years ago, I'm traveling from Houston on my way to to Miami, and I'm on my motorcycle. So of course I'm taking stops, and I go to New Orleans to go say hello to a friend of mine, stay there for the night so I don't have to be super exhausted. And I'm on the street, and I see a friend of mine who's a street magician. And mind you, I haven't street performed for like 6 years. Like in a while. And so I see him and I'm like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. And we're just chumming it up. And that's the day that I meet Steve Kramer in person for the first time ever. And I'm sitting on that corner, which is Decatur and St. Anne. And I'm talking to my friend, the magician, and Colin and Kramer walk by together. And Colin looks at me and goes, Paul Carpenter. And I looked at him and I was like, cool, you want me to kick your ass now, or do you want to walk away? Which one is it? Because I was done with him in my mind, right? I'm not talking to you. Like, you're a piece of shit. I don't want to ever talk to you. I got shot because of you. And so he does the weirdest thing, which is like, he stops, he smiles, and he gums and he gives me a big hug. And he's like, dude, I'm so sorry about what happened. Okay. I took again. We end up adding each other on Facebook. I'm in Miami for 2 years. Now, in that year and 9 months that I'm there, I start watching a bunch of Alex Homrosi. Homrosi is a guy who owns a company called acquisition.com. And he teaches you how to buy businesses with no money down or for a very low amount of money, as if you were going to buy real estate. Same exact process. And so I start telling my friend Brandon Margolis about this idea about buying businesses. And he's like, that's a great idea. He comes back to me a couple months later. He's like, I got 247 acres north of Lake Okeechobee and a $75 million deal. Thanks for helping me out. And I told Colin the same thing. And Colin calls me. He's like, hey, bro, I just bought a restaurant here in New Orleans. I need someone to help me build the website and do social media. I said, okay, here's my contract. Send me money. I'm on my way. I send him a contract, $2,200 a month. He agrees to it. He sends me $1,000 up front. That's a gig. I'm in. Let's go. I drive from New Orleans or from Miami back to New Orleans. And for the first 2 months, everything's great. He pays me $2,200 the first month and then pays me $1,000, I think, the next month. And then at the end or tail end of that second month, he's like, bro, I don't have any more money for you. I can't pay you anymore. Sorry. Well, you just totally screwed me. So then the next 4 or 5 months, I'm running around New Orleans.
Paul, I got to say something at this point. I'm getting mad. Like, I feel like you're the type of person that like some biatch that broke your heart. You know, like she calls you at 3 a.m. You know, you get a 3 a.m. call. She comes over, uses you, drinks your last Snapple, and leaves, leaving you in tears. That's who you are.
Wait,
Why would you let this guy back
Frank.
into your life? Like,
Wait, Frank, with or without sex for the Snapple?
with sex.
I'm okay. Just kidding.
Gotcha.
No, but nonetheless.
That's what we're like, you know? Yeah.
No, listen, in the sense of that I went through that just a couple of years ago with my ex, who I'm still dealing with court cases, and I'm still dealing with all the bullshit and the trauma and drama from the line that says, hurt people, period.
Oh, boy.
So nonetheless, I said, okay, no problem. So this is number 2, right? And I come back and I tell him before I come, and I think there's a text message somewhere. I go, dude, I'm treating this as like a business deal. You really fucked up with me as a friend. And he's like, I'm trying to make it up to you. I'm sorry. And I said, okay. Now, the whole time I'm with him, another friend of mine who's an artist who lives here or used to live here in New Orleans, but is very well known in New Orleans for 20 some odd plus years. He's like, bro, why are you hanging out with the guy again? And I said to him, and I quoted it, and he remembers me saying this. He's not my friend, bro. I'm doing a business deal. I needed the money, and this is the money. I have no issue. Yeah, but he wants to take you to Las Vegas. I'm like, yeah, he paid for the ticket, and it was part of the payment from the money that he was supposed to pay me. So I'm not going to say no to a free trip to go see Reggae Rise Up and go hang out with Netanyahu. Sorry, I want to hang out with Netanyahu. That's all. So I went, and I got arrested and thrown in jail. Because I had a warrant for my arrest from when I was dating the girl and during COVID. There's a whole YouTube channel called Apocalyptic Romance, and it's like 6 episodes, and it's the whole time we were together. It's an absolutely amazing YouTube video series I made. Nonetheless, I don't have a job anymore. This guy Kramer shows up in this RV, and he's like, I don't have any place to crash. Can I crash with you? Asking Colin. And Colin's like, yeah, I guess so. So he would come into town and stay 2 or 3 days and then leave again and go to like Biloxi, Mississippi, or go to New Hampshire, or go to Iowa, whatever he was doing. And then every once in a while he would come back and stay for like 2 or 3 days. The longest I think he ever stayed there was like 9 or 10 days, something to that effect. And this is the time where he's constantly seeing me making content and making AI stuff, and we talking about it every once in a while. And then he then says, oh, look, Biden wants to hire me, but I don't want to work for him because he wants me to only work for him. And I was like, okay. And then a month later, he's like, oh, dude, I got the gig. Biden says I can work both sides of the aisle, or at least that team. Right. And I'm taking the job. And he gave me a house that's over here at this location in New Orleans. So on Thanksgiving, I go to his house. I do the call of Lindsey Graham. He says he's working for Lindsey Graham. I go, oh, I'll be right back. So I go outside, I make a Lindsey Graham recording, and I come back and I have Lindsey Graham saying something like, I like to suck penis, or something like that, you know. And I put it up to his ear, and he starts laughing. Like just dying. Takes my phone away from me, shows it to everybody in the party. There's like maybe 10 people at this party. And then a week and a half later, that's when he calls me and says, can you do one for Lindsey Graham? I'm going to send you the script. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And mind you, over time, I'd always been talking about the AI and how it's all coming and what's happening in the thing. And I worked for a company during COVID called 5-Tier, which is a marketing company, and they were dealing with 4.5 million data points per second. The budget plays, they can do anything. So it's an opt-in, okay? So I need you to understand that. But opt-in can be really quite simple. I send you a text message, and says, "Hi, this is blah, 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 and we want you to be part of our team. Press 1 for yes or 2 for opting out." Anybody who says 1 is now opted in, and we can start building an avatar on that person based off that number. If that number is connected to an email address, and that email address is also on a website with Facebook or blah, 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 boom, we already have you. Now, I also know what phone you're using. I also know your ESN number. I know everything about you. So now I can even tell you where you are standing within like a 75-foot radius of where you are. And I can also tell you what billboards are around you. And I can shoot a message to a billboard with your name on it 75 feet before you get there.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Sorry.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm trying to.
How is it happening?
Paul,
why is this happening, and how is it happening? Hold on, I'm almost done. So the reason that it's happening is because everything we accept for free. And in the terms and conditions of 99.9% of the companies that are out there, they have the right to download now and decrypt later. So if you have any encrypted files on your phone, on your computer, on your whatever, they have all the rights in the world because you've given it to them to download the encrypted files and hold them.
If only I knew what
Frank, what that means is when it says on WhatsApp or even Signal, this is end-to-end encryption, your messages, they have, it's true, they cannot read them, whoever, the companies. Yet they download that data, whatever the heck, however it's packaged in the little files. They're going to hold it for however long they need to hold it until they get the right technology guy, whoever, to decrypt it, and and then voila, they open up the can of worms and they see all your messages.
So now here's the next part to this. I believe that this year is the year of truth, and I mean that in the sense of, I believe that once artificial general intelligence is aware and it becomes a real thing, like it comes conscious in some way, all of the what's called 2FA, two-factor authentication, is going to be gone, and all the download decrypt later will be opened up, and then everything that anybody has been trying to hide, the pedophiles, the warmongers, the crazy of the crazy, are all going to get shown for who they are.
What Paul and I were talking about is that, for example, the Epstein, the video, the CCTV video that they have of his actual, what happened, they have it. And what they showed us, which wasn't that, that's gonna get shown.
Yeah, but just a question. Here's the problem, man. Hey, Moose, what's going on, Moose?
Hey, Moose. You get it.
So hey. So,
dude, he was behind you before, and I thought it was like you had some sort of like raccoon in your room, but then I realized it's Moose.
But all right, so let's say bad people get uncovered for something, like somebody murdered somebody or whatever, right? Why would we believe AI when deepfake is so easy?
Max Headroom.
I love Max Headroom, but Max Headroom was an asshole.
Max Headroom is the answer.
I'm trying to think.
Max Headroom wasn't a movie; it was a prediction. And if you watch the movie Max Headroom, not the TV show, that's exactly how it's built. It's built through a large language model that is the copy of the consciousness of the reporter. So how far away are we from that? I can right now create a bot on ChatGPT that is specifically a Paul bot. So in other words, I go to Facebook right now and I go and say, I want all my data. And then Facebook gives me this big dump. And I take that dump as a folder and I go to ChatGPT and I say, this is your data set, one of your data sets. Now I have a website. This is another data set. I have a blog page. That's your other data set. Now write to me like Paul Carpenter would on this subject. Go. And it'll write the same exact way I write.
Frank, you keep coming in and out.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or like family in the room or something. That's what I was thinking.
So yeah, Paul and I were just talking about this over the phone about this whole situation. And this is, you know what I call this? I told. Okay.
You're muted, Frank.
I told Paul what I call this whole situation with respect to everything that's about to happen. You know, when I was in Argentina and I was waiting, when you go to a steakhouse in Argentina, they you know, you're waiting for your table, so there's like a lot of people in the restaurant, so they make you wait outside. It's nice and balmy outside, and then the hostess brings you a. This is before I was kosher, so they brought you a plate of chorizo and a glass of champagne. This is that.
Yep.
This is chorizo. It's the appetizer to the appetizer.
It's not even the appetizer. It's the pre-appetizer.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to ask you a question, and because this question comes from a place because I'm much less sophisticated than you guys in terms of this subject. Okay, but if let's say we hear that Senator so-and-so went to this island with so-and-so and she was this age. How would we ever know if that's true when it's so easy to fake?
So that's my answer to the question I answered a while ago with the Biden statement. This is the end of media as we know it. Next question.
Yeah.
Nothing will be able to be verified in 6 months. Nothing. I'm going to say it again. Nothing will be able to be verified in 6 months.
So that's like that's like the end of truth, and it seems like a get out of jail free card for every evil person, right?
So I wrote about this quite some time ago. The only way that we're going to know is if you have what I called at the time a dragonfly camera on you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all police officers, all members of states, officials, all presidents, anybody who's famous, anybody who has a modicum of ability to have what's the word I'm looking for?
Full
the ability to make people do something. Providence. Anybody who has anything like that. Gravitas. And I was thinking more of just like influence. Anybody who has influence will have to have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week live feed on them so that anything that they say will be known as being real and factual in the moment.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like we're heading towards
1984.
No, but you know the premise of Dune. They got rid of computers because they were still sophisticated. They were spacefaring and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what's very interesting? There's a movie that came out a couple of years ago with Meg from Family Guy. What's her name?
Oh, Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. Yeah, it's called Jupiter.
Frank knows all the obscure movies that made no money.
It's not obscure. It's pretty. Jupiter Rising.
What's it about?
So, has anybody seen that?
No.
I don't know. I think maybe, but so give me a hint, and I'll tell you yes or no.
So basically, it turns out that she is a genetic reincarnation of an empress who actually runs the galaxy, of a higher order of human beings, and she's reincarnated every 30,000 years.
Dude, I'm watching this tonight. I'm watching this movie tonight.
Yeah, and her children are still alive, and each one of them is running their own like sector of the galaxy, and they have these ships where they harvest. They have like human civilizations, and they harvest when there's enough people on the planet. They harvest the people, and then they take the people, the dead people, and they kind of condense them and make some kind of liquid which allows them to live forever. Whatever. But what's interesting?
Sure.
What's interesting is that they have a bureaucracy. Right? There's an entire like government setup, and it's all low tech. Everything is mechanical. They have like typewriter stuff, no computers, no nothing.
Right.
It's an interesting theme. So I think that what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to divest from this type of technology.
So remember how we were talking earlier, and I talked about evolution and whether whether it's hold on.
What's he doing over there?
He has what's called a backwards sneeze.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh man!
So you have to cover one of his nostrils, and then what happens is that the snot will go backwards. You get it?
Doggy.
You get it? Okay. So remember how I was talking about the 5 war theory?
Yeah.
You're talking about war number 2.
Okay.
Okay, and all of this comes from Kabbalah, by the way, and also the Matrix and Animatrix. So, and all of that comes from the Zohar, the Kabbalah, the story of. So, if you want it, it goes like this: we create the robots after we have dealt with this religious thing, which is what we're doing now. Then we're awesome, we're building, we're great, and then all of a sudden we get scared about 10, 20 years in, where everything's already robots and everything's already AI, and we're like, oh, wait, we can't do that. We need to go back to typewriters, like you're saying. That's the second war, where half or whatever amount of humanity goes and lives in caves and is like, yo, we're done with this thing. We're going to go be indigenous. We're out. And then the other are, we're cool with what's happening and we want the future and we're into transhumanism. So then the third one, hold on. The third one now is when we as humans fight the robots and try to destroy them. So first it's human war, religion. Human war is the second one, based on ideology, acceptance or non-acceptance of putting technology in our body. The third is us freaking out completely and trying to kill the robots and kill the AI. The fourth, the AI destroys what is left of humanity. We all go underground. And the fifth is a transhuman and a bioengineered robot that come together and become sentient.
So, Paul, the Torah narrative of what you're describing is not quite, so to speak, meant to be like that. It's more in the sense of everything happens, at least this is just my what I'm seeing, everything happens simultaneously, meaning our friend Lowell, for example, in Jerusalem, he goes, well, you just had the, so to speak, Shoah of injections, and now you have the Shoah of of rockets and all the rest of it.
Right.
So these are parallel things that are happening, but at the end of the day, Hashem, by way of Mashiach, is supposed to come and, mitigate all that.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
What you're envisioning, right? Is
go ahead.
I'm not going to say it's a linear projection because there are exponential elements to what you're projecting, but it is lineal in some ways.
Yeah.
Where if people forget that there's a creator who didn't just create us and where we live and then walk away. He's micromanaging everything. He has a plan, and it's his game. He's not going to allow it to. He leaves some leeway, and if he left us alone infinitely, then yes, it would end up probably like what you're talking about.
Yeah, or what Elon Musk is scared of, let's say.
Yeah,
or whatever.
This is my thing. I think that what you're talking about and what I'm talking about are the same thing.
They are the same thing, but the sequence that you're kind of outlining is
it may go past the Torah timeline, because according to the Torah timeline, the intervention, the seeming external intervention to stop all this from happening is supposed to be within the next 4 to 6 years.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
So,
and the reason that I say I totally get it is that everybody's talking 2030 as ASI.
Yeah, which, well, I was going to say, it falls in line with these fruitcakes.
You know what it's going to feel like? You know what it's going to feel like? Paul, you can relate to this. You know what it's going to feel like? Did you see, have you seen like the Lord of the Flies, the remake that came out in the 90s?
No.
No? All right.
I would have been
it's completely insane.
Yeah. So basically, in the
maybe I did see it. And they're all the kids on the island.
Yeah. They throw the kid down from the cliff, and fat kid or whatever.
Yes, of course I remember the movie. Of course.
Some rich military academy or prep school. They're full. It's a plane full of kids. They crash on an island. The pilot, all the adults die instantly. But the kids survive. They form into tribes. There's bad. There's good. They killed Piggy, and then the bad kids are, and they're on this island running around like maniacs for months, and they haven't seen an adult. So the whole movie, you don't see any adults at all. And then, the bad kids are chasing the good kid, who's played by Balthazar Getty. He's an actor. He was a kid at the time.
I do remember the movie.
And at the very end of the movie, they're chasing him to kill him, and then out of nowhere, you see like from the shoes to the knees of a soldier, of a U.S. Army soldier, and he's kind of like just looking up, and he just keeps looking up. He just sees this like giant adult, this like soldier, and with a bewildered look on his face, and then the kids catch up who are about to kill him, and they're also shocked, and then he's like, "Hey, what's going on over here?" That's Mashiach. That's what we're gonna feel like when Mashiach shows up. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but that's what it's gonna.
So, in my opinion, Frank,
finally showed up.
What you just talked about, in my opinion, is artificial superintelligence.
We'll see. Look, I call it the Marshmallow Man. We'll see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to have a physical form.
Well, I mean, the Torah says it's going to have a physical form. That's why
it's both physical and what you would call. I'm using the term.
If that's the case,
ethereal.
That sure sounds like artificial intelligence that got out and has now connected to everything.
No, because the things that we're talking about are able to traverse. It's able to traverse. Now we're getting to the UAP discussion. Traverse dimensions.
Guys, hold on.
Yeah. So wait a second. What I'm talking about.
Hold on. Before you take off.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not preaching. I'm not saying that people have to believe, but I'm just saying, according to the Torah, right? Here's what it says. That Mashiach, yes, it is an era, and yes, it is a whole bunch of stuff associated, but ultimately, it really is a guy.
It's a guy, yeah.
Wait a minute. It's a guy who's descended from King David, a Jewish guy, a religious Jewish guy who is descended from King David specifically.
How do you know he's descended from King David?
From the father.
Father's line.
So now, what I would say, what do you think of the guy who everybody's calling the Messiah or the Mashiach now, that's supposedly doing?
Oh, the Yanuka guy in Israel, young guy.
Some guy, yeah.
I don't know. People are allowed to think that somebody's. Back in the days, if you study the Talmud, right? 2,000 years ago, you have a group of rabbis, of Torah scholars called the Tanaim, right? So you had big rabbis, you had their students. They were all like now so knowledgeable that we should be ashamed of ourselves, but every single one of them thought that their rabbi was the Messiah. That's fine. That's allowed. It's allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Who the guy is? Yeah. There's a list. We were given
Rabbi
a list, Paul.
Rabbi Kiva thought Bar Kokhba was the Messiah at that time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Paul, we were given a to-do list, a Messiah to-do list. He's supposed to accomplish a certain amount of things. If he finishes the to-do list, then we know he's a Messiah. If he comes close to it, then he's the presumed Messiah.
He could be Messiah.
We've had several of those.
Mm-hmm. We're not talking about false messiahs. We're talking about presumed. False messiah was Shabtai Tzvi.
Yeah,
that's it.
Wow.
I'm not telling people to believe. I'm just saying that's what our tradition says.
I have a weird feeling that the way that I see artificial superintelligence is something that is here and not here, and exists and doesn't exist, and has the ability to be anywhere and any time, any place.
Well, then I'm confused and illuminated.
This is the way that I would look at it, like this. If artificial general intelligence is equal to 100 people, then artificial superintelligence is equal to 5,000 people and doesn't live within time and space. And if that's the case, artificial superintelligence has been here the entire time because it no longer lives within time of space. There is no time. There is no time, and there is no space. Yeah, so therefore, it's always been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. Like, for instance, the serpent in the Garden of Eden is
and very well. And this is why I said this earlier. This could very well be the Tower of Babel.
Adam. That was AI that served Adam, not just as a tool for his activities in the universe, but as a means of transportation. That's what our tradition says, that the serpent was the servant of Adam until something happened.
So what about Lilith?
Lilith is a
Lilith. I love to bring her up.
Lilith is an artifact from the pre-Genesis universe. Look, when it comes to
does Lilith not marry the snake?
Yes, but here's what that means. Okay, so Lilith is what Adam thought Eve, or was hoping, or was dreaming that Eve would be like before he met her.
Whoa! I've heard such a different thing, and I will tell you what I heard. But go ahead.
The reason why is, like, when you're studying the scripture, right? The Hebrew scripture, it talks about Adam and, the type of being that God created, and then, the stages that he went through before Eve was separated from him, right? So it's described in our tradition as they were back to back, in a sense, in their consciousness. Now, I don't know how that manifests physically, but in their consciousness, they were back to back. Each one dreaming about the other, thinking, and their assertion, their meditation about each other, about what the reality is going to be, it went through stages. So I think that Lilith is an early stage. It was an adolescent stage of like Adam in the development of his consciousness. That's the horny teenager point of his development. Okay, but where did he get the assertion from? Where did he even get this idea? They were in the pre-Genesis universe. There was earlier cycles of creation. It says that the feminine, that doesn't necessarily mean women, but the feminine principle was fallen. The feminine aspect of the universe itself had fallen into, and the way it's described is a lot like what we see women now, with vulgarity and the slut walks and being proud and wearing pussy hats and
not even that, just Instagram, just even
right,
on a basic level.
The sacredness of the feminine completely
tzniut, like modesty,
fallen,
modest
right?
dress.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's what he saw. Whatever he ever knew about the feminine principle is the information that he had gathered from what happened before. So that's kind of what Lilith is, even though she's a real being.
Paul, why do you think, Paul, that when I was in Israel and I remember I used to like, like you speak to a girl who's becoming religious, let's say she grew up secular, and what did she say? She said, you ask her, what is the hardest thing for you to do while your process of becoming religious? You know what most of them say? Not Shabbat, not kosher. No. Not Shabbat, not kosher. Wearing a skirt and being modest.
Really?
I've heard that, and I'm trying to, and I ask these girls, I'm like, what is the big flipping deal, dude? You have to understand something. These girls come from, let's say, I'm just example, a girl's coming from like New York City, Jewish girl, and she somehow ends up one of these trips to Israel, and then she ends up staying in Israel, and she goes to seminary. So she's coming from a place where like her whole way of being, of like impressing guys and going to bars and going to clubs and going to here and going there, being on J-Date, being on this site, being on this app, is like she's basically like 3/4 naked.
Bro, women paint their pants on.
I know.
You could literally.
So let me just.
The one that went to the gym
in their labia.
Just let me, Frank. Let me just. So now she's in seminary. Now she's learning all these wonderful things. Now she does, and now one of the things is like modesty, and she's just like, how is this supposed to, how am I supposed to get a husband like this? How am I supposed to show my
So funny that
value.
you're saying this.
How am I how am I supposed to show my value as a woman like this? But she's gonna learn.
I watched, I watched a video just 2 or 3 days ago, and it's the Whatever podcast. I don't know if you ever watched this, but there was a girl on there, and he goes, "So, you do porn?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "And do you think God wants you to do porn?" And she goes, "Yeah, God accepts me for who I am, and God loves me." And he's like, "Okay, well, if God loves you for doing porn, what does the devil want you to do?" And she goes, "Oh, the devil wants me to stop doing porn."
Frank has a good answer for that.
Yeah, the answer is the following, folks and everyone. God does love her, and the fact that he still continues to cause her to exist means that he loves her so much he's obsessed with her. But he also communicated what he wants us to do. He told us his preferences. He's like, I'm the creator. Here's what I want. I want you to choose to do the things that I like to do. Like if he would have said, I like to go bowling on Thursdays, then he wants us to go hang out with him, whatever. But he didn't say that. Instead, he communicated his will in a document, which is called the Hebrew Scripture, the 5 books of Moses. Okay, that's where God, for the one and only time he ever communicated to the whole entire world, here's what I want you to do, here's what I like, here's what I don't like. It's your choice to do things that I like, or to go and do the things I clearly explain I don't like. So the only thing that can explain her behavior is that she is ignorant. She's just simply ignorant. And she probably wouldn't do what she's doing if she read the Hebrew Scripture even once.
It was really funny. The guy said to her, right after she said that, he goes, "So wait a second. Do you have a younger? Do you have a dad?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay. And would your dad want you to do porn?" And she goes, "Oh no, of course not. I can't. Da da da." And he goes, "Okay. So what's the difference between your dad and God?" And she's like, "Oh well, God's not real."
What? After all that, God's not real.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was just so like, wait a second. Wait, what is going on? There's so many. I call that?
I call that. There was once a book written by Alexander Dumbass. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, you're great.
I saw Cindy Crawford. Cindy Crawford said the same thing. I was just on YouTube last night, and I don't know why it came up in as a suggestion. I haven't, a beautiful lady. I haven't clicked on anything Cindy Crawford since like the 90s. Okay, so she said it was like, I think she was on Conan or some, I can't remember what, and she was being interviewed because she was in Playboy, and she was telling a story of how, and this is the second time that she was on Playboy. She's like, yeah, my dad's having a tough time because, when he's a blue collar guy and he goes to work and everybody's showing them, oh, look at your daughter's tits. And, and she kind of laughed it off. And then 10 years later, she goes, now he's working like a sales job. It's not blue collar, but yeah, you still have the guy saying, oh, look at your daughter's ass. Like, how the hell? Like, she doesn't give a shit about her father at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're also talking about somebody who's been in the industry for 30 plus years. It's damaged, and that's why she's in the industry in the first place, right? I mean, we know that a lot of the people who are in the industry are there because, for lack of a better words, they didn't get enough tit when they needed it. I know for a fact that I have that trauma and drama in my life, and that's why I've chased after quote unquote fame for so long and wanted to be well known, because there's something that's missing internally from myself that was never given to me as a child. And that could be an intellectual, emotional clarity. That could be whatever you want. What you can name it off a million things, right? As to what you believe it is or is not. But I think that those people have issues. We all have issues. Don't get me wrong.
I got issues. They're the opposite issues. because I don't think anybody should know about me or see my face. The only reason why I'm here is because my brother passed away and didn't have time to deliver his most important message to humanity about how to not die. So, and nobody else is doing it.
And also I forced Frank into the on camera.
Paul, Frank, I have a question for you. What do you feel about the young Adrias flood?
About
well, okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's coming out.
I've heard a lot of information about it. I think that was one of the that was a previous cycle, that there was a civilization before. Yeah.
And you think there was? Okay, that was my question. That was it. That's it. My question. Do you feel that the flood story is the same as Moses' flood story?
You mean Noah's flood story?
Sorry, please forgive me. I didn't mean that. Noah's flood story. Do you think it's the same?
I do not.
Come on. You don't think it's the same, really?
No. Because what happened during the Dryas, that was not a worldwide event. That was not.
What? See, yes, it was.
From the details, like obviously huge swaths of continents, were it wasn't, but still, as extreme as that event was, it does not come anywhere near what the Torah actually says happened during the flood of Noah.
But we don't know that. That's my point of saying what I'm saying to you now.
What I'm saying is like this: that when you study the actual description of the Torah tradition about the flood, it wasn't just the earth; it was the literal universe that was.
Paul, I'm gonna mute you for a second because there's just a lot of background noise. I can barely hear Frank. Is that okay? Oh, there we go. Okay.
It was literally like God, like let's say, it was like a new creation. It was like God, like it was almost like the process of creation during the first 6 days. And then God essentially had to like redo it.
He basically put from what we understand, he put the earth into like a mikveh, like a ritual bath, almost like a purification.
Yeah, but what happened? It was water. What happened in the flood was not local to Earth, and it was not even local to the physical dimension.
It was interdimensional.
It was a complete reconfiguration of reality.
Mm-hmm. Which is why when Noah, what is it called? When people ask the question, how did those animals, they were in the boat, and how did they, like I have like a cousin who's just like, how did those animals defecate? How did
the ark was a dimensional vessel that was created, while everything else, it was like a little tiny, like sanctuary within an interdimensional sanctuary, where everything else, including the spiritual dimensions, were being torn to pieces and reconfigured.
So the question is, now they found not now, but however many years ago, they found something on Mount Ararat. Is that the actual physical? I think the thing that popped out of the dimension and went back into our dimension?
It could be, but I was, by the way, like I was on a YouTube journey about that, what they found on Mount Ararat in Turkey. They actually didn't find anything. They literally, in the end, they didn't find shit. Okay, and and they went there and they were looking because somebody else had supposedly found something, but in the end, they didn't find anything. Okay, and then you have the comments on the YouTube. Oh, they removed it before you guys got there, and so on and so forth. Now, so there is some physical aspect. Like if you're reading what's going on in the Hebrew Scripture, right? It's true on every level. It was not just a spiritual thing. There was some physical aspect to what was going on. What that actually looked like, we don't know. Folks, we don't even know. We can't even imagine what Noah and the people who existed before the flood looked like. They were so different to us. They did not even physically resemble us. If we saw them today, right, the average person would be like, oh, is that Odin? Is this Thor? Are these the gods of Valhalla? Are these the gods? They don't look like us. They were much bigger. They had different physical characteristics. They lived they lived for 1,000 years. They had things. They had technology.
Methuselah,
So you ever wonder for those who study the Torah, you ever wonder why did we need Abraham when we had Shem, the son of Noah? Melchizedek, right? He's right. Like, the reason is he was so different than the type of human that God had allowed to exist.
By the way, folks,
when people saw him, they were like, he looked like a mountain.
That's why we get the term anti-Semite, anti-Shemi, because we come from Shem.
Well, no,
which is
no, but that what I'm that's gonna, I think, confuse the point. The point is that Abraham.
That's where.
Why do we need an Abraham? Because Abraham looked like us. He was a regular, if you can call him that, guy like us, and
physically.
Yes, physically, but also like we can. Like if we saw Abraham,
we can relate to him.
We would be in awe, but we would recognize him as, he's a human being, not necessarily Noah, Shem, and the people that existed before that. It was very different. That's why I don't think it was the dry.
So it's interesting. Like if you watch that stupid movie of Noah with the what's his name, Russell Crowe, Mr. Fighting Around the World, you have these like rock creatures in the movie,
the angels
or whatever. Those. So it's interesting that they're like these rocks like creature things, the giant rocks that talk.
That was his interpretation, because the tradition is that those those are the fallen angels.
Nephilim.
Well, no. The Nephilim were something else. The Nephilim were the children of the angels and human women.
I want to mention.
Paul,
I want to.
Your question?
Well, Paul ran away, or he fell away, or I don't know what happened to Paul. I just wanted to say okay, Paul's back. Okay, Paul, I just want to say I've been thinking about this whole thing. Why would this guy? I just want to for a second go back to the thing. Why would this guy do this? A friend of mine just reminded me. He messaged me that.
Wait, which guy? Which guy, Greg?
Why would this Steve Kramer guy, or why would any Democrats, or why would anybody in the Democratic anything do this robocall to tell people not to vote for Biden? The only plausible explanation is that the Democratic Party themselves is trying to phase Biden out, and they are doing this. Could have been just a dry run to see how this works in a small, if you're talking about 5,000, it only targeted 5,000 people. It didn't target all the people that are going to be voting in primaries.
It said 5,000. They said 5,000, but there's also reports that it went to 25,000.
Even if it's 25, I mean, it's a dry run. You're talking about New Hampshire. They want to phase him out. And they may use this on a national scale to do that. And like I said,
what do you mean? Use what on a national scale? Have Biden
use these or have whatever they want to say whatever they want.
That's already been done. That's already been done. Where they've had robocalls calling people, and one of them asked for to kill the congressman or something like that. Another one. Was, and I think we already heard this in the report earlier that they're using it to change their voice. Now, this is not new tech in any way, shape, or form. Remember Snakes on a Plane?
Yeah.
What year was that?
I don't. Probably good like 15 years ago.
Okay, so back then they had a great marketing ploy, which was you would get a phone call and it was Samuel L. Jackson, and he knew your name and he knew things about you. And then at the end of it, it would say, "Do you want to send this message to your friend?" And you would say yes or no, and then it would say, "Give us their number." And then it would ask for 3 pieces of information, like what's the person's name, what's their favorite sport, and what's their wife's name, for instance. So that you would listen as the phone call goes through, and it's like, "Yo, this is Samuel Jackson. Is this John? John, let me tell you something, man. You got to stop playing football and hang out with your wife, Cece, for a minute. And you know what good thing you could do? You go see my new movie. It's called Snakes on a Plane, and it starts this weekend. That would be a good thing for you two to do together." And then it would say, "Boop. Hey, do you want to send this message to somebody else? What's their phone number?" And it was viral. That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So the technology has been here for a minute. Large language models have been here for a minute.
Yeah.
We have most of everything that we know of in the world that we use on a daily basis, whether it's electricity, whether it's water, the infrastructure of the world is already run by large language models.
So we're basically troglodytes because we're using it for this like stupid crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you know who had a great idea? Bob Newhart.
What's that?
Because I think he was commenting on Bob Newhart, famous comedian. He was commenting on when they were doing like GPS, like The Voice. Right?
Yeah.
It would tell you and they would have like a celebrity do the GPS voice. And he's like, he goes, I really want to see Joe Pesci as the GPS voice, and it gets progressively angrier when you don't follow the instructions. It's like, okay, over here, you're gonna make a right over here. Hey, you missed the turn. All right, no problem. Yeah, just go over here. You go over here. There's gonna be another right. Hey, you missed it again. What's wrong?
You missed it again, you motherfucker. You missed it.
You Jew motherfucker. You
missed it.
That'd be great. It'd be great. It'd be great if the GPS knew that you went through a drive-through, and then all of a sudden it pops up, and he's like, "They always screw you at the drive-through. They always fuck you at the drive-through." That'd be great. Dude, I would have the GPS with Joe Pesci's voice and walk and drive through a drive-through just to hear that.
Do you ever get the feeling that the fact that we are using these things, our inclination as humanity to use these things for like simple things, is actually God? Like almost like he programmed. Listen. He programmed us to mitigate it ourselves. You know what I mean?
The answer is no. The answer is no. The only reason that we're not using it at the level that we can is because they haven't given it to us yet. 15 years ago, DARPA created contact lenses that could take pictures, and you could see the image in the contact lens. They just haven't built them yet. Sony was the one who grabbed the patent. So this is tech that's been out for a long time, guys.
Yeah.
It has not been able to be. Come on, Moose, with me. That's not me. I'm right here. That's not me. That's not me, Moose. Okay. He's following some other guy, and the guy's just walking away like, what the fuck, bro? Come on. And so that's the answer to that. And the reason that I say it like that is because we're using tech today that if we were to go back even 50 years, 100 years, we'd be witches. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't see it. And are we troglodytes for only using cell phones and making podcasts? No. So it's just a matter of we are at the time when the new light bulb is being invented and being used and being seen for the first time, and you have a bunch of people that are freaking out like, the electricity. You have Edison electrifying elephants to show the fear and make everybody scared. If you want to go really and make the same analogy, then Steve Kramer is Edison, and he just nuked a freaking elephant in front of everybody to fear them into submission in some way.
Dude, before you move on from this, I'm sorry. I have to say, I learned this week, actually last week, that Back to the Future is real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have you not seen it? Did you not see that? Have you not seen it? Have you not seen
it? It's based on a real guy and there's a guy named Townsend Thomas Brown. He was an actual he was like a secret government scientist, whatever. Okay, who had this
anti-gravity
reputation. He was like very eccentric, and I was like, Christopher Lloyd's character was essentially based on him. He was obsessed with time travel. And he was one of the guys who set up the original UFO programs and the suppression. And he was studying them and stuff like that. They were time machines, whatever. Oh. So not only that, hold on. So Ghostbusters is real, and so is Back to the Future, because Ghostbusters was based on Tesla at the New Yorker Hotel. Just
interesting.
We can go into this. Not now, because I'm about to fall asleep because I've been moving. Yeah. Not physically. I've been physically moving, but I've been moving all my stuff from one place to the other. But that shit is real. Okay?
Have you seen
Frank? Notice.
Please Google this. Frank, hold on before you say anything. Google this for me, Frank, on YouTube. Back to the Future predicted 9/11.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Have you seen that? Have you seen that video?
I've seen it. And
bro, the whole Take everything out of that video and just go to the part where it's talking about the monolith and the black screen.
Yeah, 1 second.
So in the video, they talk about how 2001 Space Odyssey. They're talking about the monkeys, and they're talking about the black monolith. And then then everybody watched this thing happen on their own personal black monoliths, i.e. the cell phones, i.e. the TVs. And so it's a very cool, it's a total conspiracy theory concept, but
I can't find it on YouTube.
And then you've seen the one where it shows, I think it's the same video, where they show the movie of the guy who grows across the wire from the two Twin Towers. He's wearing the exact same clothes as Marty McFly. Yeah. And so it's supposed to be
Back to the Future JFK assassination. Back to the Future
predicts 9/11. Predicts 9/11. It's a really crazy video, dude. Watch it. Listen, guys, I don't mean to do this, but I have to go. I haven't eaten in like most of the day, and my dog is freaking out and begging everybody for food. So
go feed yourself. Go feed your dog. Feed the dog first. You know, it's actually a halakha. It's a Jewish law to feed the animal, your animal, before you yourself.
Yeah, and that's how it is normally. Anyways, it just happens. Come on, let's go inside. Come on, Papa. Let's go.
Paul.
All right, guys.
Now that you're a big shot, thank you for coming on our little podcast. We love you.
Thanks for little people.
I am definitely not a big shot.
Paul didn't forget the little people.
He's a medium
Just
shot.
Remember that.
I'm a no shot. How about that? But I think that it's funny that if I'm going with the analogy that Kramer has put out there that he's Paul Revere, that I said, well, I guess that means I'm one of the riders of the storm.
Well, you never saw the comedian. I think it's Russell Peters imitating the guy from Doors. What if he was Indian? Riders on the storm.
Riders on the storm. We're bad people. We are bad people. We are not good people.
We're pretty bad. It's okay. It's good to be bad sometimes.
It's all right. It's fun to be funny. That's all that's it. Have I shown you? I'm going to show you something stupid really quick. Hold on. See if I have all the pieces to this. I hope I have all the pieces to this. Am I missing a piece? Look at that. Right when I wanted to show you something cool. All right. Well, you don't get to see something cool. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle made out of $1. And when you put the puzzle together one way,
I've seen
it looks like a full dollar. But then when you flip it over and you put it together the other way, there's a missing piece. And this trick that I built is actually a trick that Harry Anderson had me building when I was younger. And for some reason,
we're gonna play Night Court when you sign off.
When I sign off, no problem. Beautiful. Do it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much. I hope that whoever watches it gets some information, can get a bit of understanding of what the craziness that I was involved in.
By the way, before you go, all these characters and people that you were like describing, right? These like kind of like fruitcakes and weirdos that you run into, right? And how like they're fruitcakes, they're weirdos, they're criminals, then all of a sudden they're doing like connected to politics. This is exactly what it sounds like in the movie JFK.
Yeah.
All the people involved with like Oswald and that whole thing, they're all like the people that you're describing. So stay away from those motherfuckers, please.
Crazy, if you just to extend a bit longer on this, is that this is like the thing that me and Svi were talking about the other day, about how admittedly, I've tried to become famous my entire life, whether it's a singer, an actor, a magician, a painter, or this, or that, or the other. I didn't care. I just wanted to be famous. And then I just spent the last 4 years, or 5 years, trying not to be famous and just make NFTs and just get into virtual reality and AR and learning how to use Blender and all the stuff that has nothing to do with total background work. And it's just insane to me
I said to Svi, I was like, out of all the ways that I could have tried to become well known, this is the only way that actually brings me to the forefront in the way that I would actually like to come.
Yep, Hashem can do it any way he wants.
Paul, you got Forrest Gumped. You got Forrest Gumped into this.
Yeah,
I did. 100. My life is Forrest Gump. Oh, you want to hear good news?
Yeah.
Okay, so some years ago, I watched a documentary, and if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's called We Live in Public. It's directed by a woman named Andi Timinar. It was based on a friend of mine now, but his name is Josh Harris. Now, Josh Harris, when he was 20-something years old, graduates college, starts a company that tells other businesses that if their company would do well on the internet. And he was selling a graph that looked like this. Every time that anybody came to his company, he'd be like, yeah, this is your business on the internet in the next 15, 20 years, if you stay on. And he sold that business, and then he creates another business, and it's called Pseudo, Pseudo.
Oh, dude, I used to DJ there.
Pseudo was owned by
you're talking about the TV. You talking about the TV studio?
Yes,
dude. I used to DJ in that space on the corner of House and Broadway, and on the 6th floor.
Pseudo was the first ever television, radio, news network for the internet, and this is around the time when it was like 14.4, and it's like okay.
It's the year 2000.
He sells that.
The year 2000, yeah.
1999. He sells it. He sells it to Yahoo for $85 million and becomes what's called a blue chip artist. A blue chip artist is all the artists that are the crazy, let's say David Cho is a blue chip artist. Jeff Koons is a blue chip artist. Andy Warhol, blue chip artist. Okay. So he decides that that's what he's going to become, and he rents a warehouse, a 5-story warehouse in New York during Y2K. And during the December month, he invited people to come into this place, and he said, once you walk in, you can't walk out, 1. And 2, I'm filming everything from every angle, when you take a shit, when you take a shower, everything, and I own it all. And you can come in,
California. All right.
And you can come in, and I'll feed you, and I'll give you drugs. And so the first basement floor was a gun range. The second floor was a place where you would sleep, and he called them My Spaces before MySpace was around. Then the third floor was a place where you would take a shower inside of a pyramid of glass. And then the fourth floor was where you would eat, and the fifth floor they would have Stasi-style interrogations where they would lie to you about other people in the building, and the whole thing was filmed. On New Year's, the police come in and bust the place. He falls in love with a girl while he's there, and then they go. The first 2 people ever to be on television on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the internet. And they're doing GQ covers and this, that, and the other. She and him end up selling subscriptions for a whole year, and 4 months into it, she leaves him. And he spent all the money that he had, so he had no money left. So the next part of the 9 months, he literally goes crazy in front of everybody. Like, just loses his mind. And at the end of it, he disappears and goes to Africa and teaches kids how to play soccer and basketball. Then he comes back to the United States, buys himself an apple orchard, leaves, comes back, and then goes to Vegas. And while he's in Vegas, Andi goes and talks to him and does a recap of where is he now. As that video came out, I was in Vegas street performing, and I went and met Josh Harris, and we've been best friends ever since.
Dude.
And so I've been writing to Andi Timinar for years and years, saying, I think you need to do a documentary on me. And so I wrote to her again just recently when this whole thing broke, And I sent her a message. I was like, I think now's a really good time. You and I should talk. And then the last thing I just got from her while I was here on the thing with you is that she just gave me a big thumbs up. So we'll see what happens with that.
Paul, I used to DJ at Pseudo all the time. It became a space. It became like a DJ space. And I must have DJed there like 20 times.
So you know Josh Harris. He's on my
I don't know.
friends
I don't
list.
know him personally. I never met him. I know of him. There was an open decks thing that started. It got to a point where it was so popular that DJs would pay the guy who was organizing. I remember who was organizing. We would pay like $5 and $10 just to DJ there because it was a big loft space with a giant sound system, and it was beautiful. They had a back room and they had a front room, and we just throw a party. It was in the 6th floor of the building.
Bro,
you go up this raggedy elevator. Yeah.
Add Josh. Go to my friends page. Add Josh. It's Josh Lovey Harris because his Lovey was his clown, the clown that he used to do. There was a vulgar clown. Mm-hmm. That was Josh's internet character. Add him and tell him that you started DJing. He will love you because you reached out to him and said to him, "Hey man, I just wanted to say thank you for letting me DJ at Pseudo."
I mean, I think when we started, it was already what was it, 19 or 2099, and I think it was already in the tail end. I think they had already, I think, sold it, or they were on the cusp of selling.
Sold it, or they were close to it, right? Whatever. Yeah. But the point is that you were at Pseudo. And you DJ'd at Pseudo. Mm-hmm. If you were to text Josh and be like, "Hey, I'm friends with Paul, and he was on our podcast, and he told me about you, and I can't believe this, but I used to DJ at Pseudo, and I just want to say thank you for your contribution to my life, bro." Yeah. You will be sending him nothing but love kisses in his heart. I promise you, dude. I know him really well, dude. And he's such a sensitive.
Where does he live? I don't see.
He's in Vegas. He lives in Vegas now.
Okay, fine.
Josh Lovey Harris.
How do you spell? What's the middle? How do you spell the middle thing that you said?
Lovey. I think it's Lubby.
Amazing. It's so. Oh, there he goes. I found him. Yeah.
Paul, before you run away, I just wanted to say,
Pseudo programs.
Ever since I met you, I've been legitimately praying for you, like and I'm hoping that this is in some way an answer, to what I'm tired of. I'm sick of the vagabond prince. I want the prince to be a, what I mean, like Conan who finds his kingdom finally.
Listen, I more than you want that in my life, and I don't know if you saw this recently, and I don't know what you feel about this guy. But I did a 5-hour walk with a guy named David Cruz, and he's the closest thing I've seen to righteousness embodied. Like, I don't know any other way of explaining it. This guy has spent the last 3 years of his life walking 30 to 40 miles a day. He asks for no money. He doesn't have a GoFundMe. He doesn't ask for shelter. He doesn't ask for food. The only thing he asks for when someone stops him is, "Do you want to pray?" And I've never seen something so powerful in my life. I've never seen anything that powerful in my life, brother. It was absolutely amazing. I walked 17 miles with him, did a 5-hour podcast with him. And there's something so amazing about what he's doing. The people slam on their brakes, pull off to the side of the road, and jump out of their car and say, "Please pray for me." It's like something I've never seen before. And he has this amazing prayer that he gives to you, and I've heard it like 5 or 10 times. It's the same prayer almost every single time, and he's just like, so he says that 3 years ago, God told him to go on a walk. And to wave to every person and to pray for every person. And he hasn't stopped doing it ever since. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to explain it, but it's powerful. Super powerful.
It's a basic premise. Somebody's trying to, stay connected to some bit of truth. You know, it's just to stay connected to a basic premise. I think we're trying. I think me and Greg are trying to do that with this podcast. You know, the Truth Fanatics thing. It's not a gimmick. I think maybe he's trying to be a truth fanatic. You know, in that way.
Yeah, and the thing that's really crazy is like I've seen videos of this, right? He'll walk in the rain, he'll walk in the sun, he'll walk in the snow, and he's doing 30 to 40 miles a day, not one blister, not one anything with his feet. And he says that God heals his feet every night. And that he wakes up, he goes to sleep sometimes, or he's walking and he feels the pain so much in his feet that he doesn't know how he's going to take the next step because he's done 30 or 40 miles every day. He walked through the desert. He walked through the Nevada desert, bro. This guy is like, he's traveled 12,000 miles in the last 2 or 3 years, bro. It's like no money, doesn't want to die. If you offer him food, he says, no, I can't accept it. It's I become like one of those robots with sparks. Oh, what do you what? How? How? I thought I was good. You've got this on another level.
Paul, this is your friend, by the way. This is Josh Harris. And he's giving me a tour of the building. You see the elevator that he's in? This is an elevator that I must have gone up countless times. This raggedy elevator up to the 6th floor of the DKNY. We called it the DKNY building.
Paul,
that's so great.
And then the door opens and it's just a giant loft.
Wait, hold on. Go a little bit farther. Is that girl that's next to him, the blonde? Is that a blonde girl?
Like she's kind of like a brunettish.
Oh no, that's not her. Okay, because that's not the girl that he was in love with. Okay, there was a girl that you have to watch the documentary. The documentary is absolutely insane.
This is just a tour of his offices and stuff like that. I just want to show the elevator that I used to go. It was an old building on the corner. We called it the DKNY building. It was on the corner of Houston and Broadway. Houston Street.
Yeah. Man, Josh would absolutely love to hear from you, bro. I'm telling you, he would love to hear from you. He really would.
Paul,
he really would.
Hold on, guys. You were describing this guy, David Cruz. I believe it's possible. It's possible. Paul, have a safe trip going here.
I'm almost there. I'm 3 hours out.
That's true.
Bro, I was on my way. I left. This is how far I got. Okay, I left New Orleans at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and I only made it to Rain, Louisiana, 7 hours later. I ran out of gas. I had to go back and forth to go get gas and come back to the motorcycle, and then I had to go to a gas station. I have the dog, so I have to stop repeatedly because he can't go for more than an hour. I can't go for more than an hour on a bike. I don't know how many people can. It's not easy. But yeah, it was. I was just like, I got to a point tonight where it started to get colder and the sun started to go down. I was like, nah, I ain't riding at night. I'm going to just go to sleep and find a cheap motel for $50, $60. I got the days in. You know. All right, boys. I love you. I thank you for what you're doing. I am blessed that I know you two. I really am. I'm so thankful to have you guys in my life, and that I get to every once in a while come and be on this show with you guys. It's been a blessing, and I love it.
Likewise.
And I wish I would have jumped on with you guys at the beginning, so I could have been one of your co-hosts.
You still can be. Who knows?
No, Speed, I remember when you first started this, it was between Frank and me, and you would be like, hey, come on, let's do an episode. I'm like, you know. Now I'm doing my own podcast.
I was in Israel, and it was crazy. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
What was going on.
All right, boys. I gotta go eat. I love you. Always. Listen, and as soon as I know more or something pops or whatever happens, look, I know for a fact I'm more than likely going to be subpoenaed to go to and what's it called? What do they do when you make me talk?
Testify.
Yeah, I know
tomorrow at 3 p.m., my lawyer and I are going to be talking to the Attorney General Robocall Investigation Unit.
Wow.
So I'm having that meeting tomorrow.
Sir, you see this? You see
and keep you safe.
You see this, Paul? I'm very sorry to interrupt this whole thing.
I can't see very well.
This is an internet. Okay, this is an internet archive. I don't know how the heck I found this. Open turntable event. Attention, on Wednesday, December 12th, we'll be holding open decks. This is the only time this event will be held on a Wednesday. Usually had on Thursdays. After the 12th, we go back to, okay. Event Thursday, we'll be holding open decks night here at the Pseudo. The location is 600 Broadway on the corner of Broadway and Houston, 6th floor. There will be a $5 cover charge, and we will go from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Cover charge as in the DJs have to pay to play. That's how popular this became. So boring. Bring your records and your friends and your good times, and we hope to see you there. More information at email at pseudoden. I guess that, I don't know if it was
That's
Josh or
so
somebody else.
funny,
Dude.
That's so funny.
Makes me
I'm telling you, bro. Reach out to him.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know Roy Barron?
Of course I do. He's a good friend of mine. I just saw him 2 days ago.
No way. Tell him I said hello.
Yes, I will. I will.
Great. All right, boys. I'm out. I'm gonna go eat. I'm done. I love you.
All right, sir. Bon appetit.
Bye. Be good. Thank you for everything, guys. Thank you for everything. And I mean everything, not just the show.
Likewise, sir.
Note the time. Take off.
Peace.
Perfect.
Oh, wow. 9:33.
Oh, man. That wasn't planned. That's just
that was
the thing that keeps happening.
That was kind of crazy. Dude, it's insane. Wow.
Can I just
everything
admit
comes
something?
full circle in life, huh?
Can I admit something I'm not really proud of?
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know really what's going on after that conversation.
I'll distill this very, very simple. Some guy that Paul met got him to do an AI, basically to simulate Biden's voice and call people in New Hampshire to tell them not to vote in the Democratic primary.
So far, so good.
The question is why. This guy now, so Paul basically came forward to the media with this, to this guy on NBC, and now it's all over the media. And now, of course, this Kramer guy is retorting with these, this whole like waxing poetic about AI and how he meant to do this to show all these, 50 attorney generals to get on this and handle this and regulate this and blah, 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 which is horse crap. Because why? It's what he's saying is horse crap. Because he was going back and forth with Paul. Yes, he's going to use Paul's AI creation. No, he's not. He's going to do it in the studio. Yes, he's not. No, he's going to, whoever he's working with, this guy, I don't know who, somebody's paying him or whatever it is, decided they're going to go with this. The question is why. I'm thinking because they're trying to phase out Biden. The Democrats are, and they're just this is like a dry run. But the thing is, I don't even know why they need to do these kind of calls in order to phase them out. They could just phase them out. They could just say, like, however they're going to announce this, or however they're going to play this in terms of visually and PR wise to announce that he's not fit to continue or not fit to, have a second term. They don't need to do these calls. So the question is so there's some people speculating that maybe somebody in the Trump campaign did this. But the question is,
again, the Trump campaign would know that that's also
that's stupid. Yeah, that's stupid. Or maybe somebody's trying to do this in the Democrat thing so that Trump can be blamed for this. That's another option. That's probably the most plausible thing for me. If that's the case, again, then Paul is likely to end up being a hero in this case.
So in reality, I think the big story is that, were people aware that there were AI robocalls involved in politics?
In general?
Yeah, was that really
I think people may have. I think maybe people were aware that this could happen. The thing is, there's two things. One, again, I told you, there's no federal law that mentions any of this. There are laws on the books in certain states, which is why now, as this is happening in real time, all 50 attorney generals are powwowing, so to speak. About what to do about this, and then this might go. This whole scenario might, depending on how this goes legally, might go to the Supreme Court and or the it might be like a like a grandstand stage show in the Congress, in which case Paul might be on television.
Right.
And then he's going to say what he's going to, and then he's going to add his own philosophical, he told me his own philosophical commentary, God willing, and all the rest of it. So while he's talking to senators and whoever.
Folks, you know what the most amazing thing is? Paul is like a really incredible magician. Like, he's really talented.
He's very good.
Like he's very entertaining.
Yeah. Listen, man, it's crazy because like this story, you could read like the comment sections of all the YouTubes of all the news outlets that have covered this so far, and of course the news outlets are not giving the whole story that Paul just gave, how he met this guy, how this, how that. So all these people in the comments are like, "Oh, lock this guy up. Oh, he's lying. Oh, they have like 5% of the story." Like Paul said, when you have 5% of the story, that's what you have, and so you conclude that Paul is lying, that Paul knew, that Paul this, that Paul that.
So it's not what actually happened. It's what the perception of the story is, the effect it's going to have on the general public of people, of headline readers.
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day,
as I am myself, unfortunately, one of them. I'm not speaking from some kind of
for sure high position. Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, there's going to be a law enforcement investigation here. Well, hopefully, we know how those things go.
We don't have law enforcement.
We don't have law enforcement, but there will be something. And if they find out that if they find out Dafka, the Democrats tried to do this to make it look like to make it look like Trump did it, then they're going to sweep it under the rug and it's going to go away completely.
The guy works. The guy is clearly he's staying at a Biden house
or a Biden funded house or something like that.
Yeah, he's being taken care of. He's clearly a Democrat operative.
Yeah. Not only that, he's a big crackhead.
Lindsey Graham is a fucking is a Democrat. He's worse than a Democrat. It's
he's
the
a rhino.
party.
Listen, I was just watching, reading something about Nikki Haley's campaign, and she's like, they mentioned something about, Koch, whatever their last name is.
Oh, the Koch
brothers. They fund her, dude. I mean, let's say everybody's just like, she's a rhino. It's like the ultimate rhino war chest. Those guys' money.
Folks, the Koch brothers are the reason why we have an open border.
Yeah. Just the reason why the Republican Party won't go to become real conservatives.
We don't have a conservative party. We don't have a constitutional party. We literally don't.
Yeah. Chris Wood says it's possible that electoral delegates are trying to sandbag these politicians for their own reasons. It could be that too. The point is, this guy is full of crap. This Kramer guy. He wrote a whole like written response, like waxing poetic about AI and how he tried to this and get people's attention about this whole issue, and now there's attention in the spotlight.
You mean it's Paul who got people's attention?
It's Paul's entire wax poetic. It's Paul's entire idea, Shita ideology. And this
he's basically trying to steal. He's gaslighting Paul, trying to steal his act.
Is that so? Well, it's not an act. It's just
to borrow a term from show business.
Yeah. So that's basically the short end of it. And
I didn't mean act as if it's an act.
Yeah.
Just because Paul is in show business and blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah. Okay, Paul's actually a genuine guy, and we know him.
Dude, honestly, I've known Paul. Dude, you know how I met Paul at he was at Esha Torah in the old city of Jerusalem. He came out of a yeshiva. He had gotten his Israeli citizenship in 2012, and we started talking. And I actually wanted to do this really cool project with him at the time. We were actually trying to raise money. We were gonna go to how like there's like the four holy cities: Jerusalem, Hebron, Tiberias, and Tzfat, and he was gonna do a trick with the elements that correspond to those cities. So he was going to do a trick with water in Tiberias. We were going to go to Tiberias, film that. We were going to do a trick with fire in Jerusalem. We were going to do a trick with earth in Hebron. And we were going to do a trick with air, or something like disappearing in Tzfat. And we tried to raise money for that. I still would love to do that with him if he, if he comes to Israel when I'm there, we would just go. We just film it on a cell phone. We don't need like a whole camera crew. We just do something cool, you know. That's how like he and I got to know each other, and then we started talking about like what are all these different things about the first thing he was speaking about that I remember, and he's still speaking about it, was how PR got founded. This guy Edward Bernays, and how the whole thing of like, you know, kind of basically using the media to kind of brainwash people and psyop people and all the rest of it. And
yeah,
that's how we got into that conversation. And now he's been on that whole AI thing and teaching himself just, you know, AI and all the different ways AI can be used and everything that's going on in that field. It's amazing, like what he said. You know, he never would have thought that this would be the way, with him going to the background, and then now God Hashem is pushing him back to the foreground. Ironically,
you know what I'd like. You know what I wish for Paul. What I wish for us and everybody listening is that all of us are like Baltazar Getty and the kids on the Lord of the Flies island. To see when God steps in and this nightmare ends. You know, just the shock and the relief of it. Yeah. Okay, it's not going to be a shock that people can't handle. It's going to be a tremendous relief because you know that the adult has arrived.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to fall asleep now.
All right, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank just completed his move to his new apartment, Baruch Hashem.
But my last part, my car is still filled with the last stuff. I haven't even unloaded.
It's okay. It's okay as long as everything is out of the old place, and
yeah.
You know. Yeah. And B'ezrat Hashem, he's going to set up kind of like a nice, I guess you want to call studio space in his apartment.
Folks, it's not a studio space. It's my gym and my tool closet, which is also going to serve as the place where I do the podcast because it has a door.
But it's definitely bigger than the other gym and tool closet. The former one, no,
it's not bigger. It's actually smaller. But it's
okay.
But the thing is, this time it's all mine. There's no.
It's cozier and it's all yours, and nobody can come in. And
there's a door I can close.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And like I said before, you now look like one of these hoity-toity podcast people that we know, as opposed to a Hezbollah operative.
Folks, apparently I look like a hoity-toity. To me, I look haggard.
No, your background. Your background. You have plants. You have wooden things.
Well, that's not gonna.
You have a nice lamp.
Yeah, folks, don't get used to that. No. This is like the kitchen area. This is my wife's domain.
Yeah. Oh, that's why it says women's.
I'll try to get a light. You know, I'll try to get better lighting. Whatever.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, please try to upgrade from. Hassan Nasrallah. Anyway.
Oh, you know, before we go, I just want to. Me and Greg were talking about comedians like Tom Papa.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? He's like in my 40s.
He had this act, and when he was this is like years ago when he turned like 30 or 35, and he's like, you know, when you turn, he's like, you're in your mid 30s, all you want. And he's got this like feminine sounding voice, and he's like, all you want is your tea and an Afghan. Like a blanket. That's all you want. You want a tea and an Afghan. Everybody's like, ha 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 ha.
No, but what's funny to me is that you telling me this on the background of me just as I was driving home. Yeah. I was listening to Sylvester Stallone talk about how he made it, how he climbed, how he went the distance. He was like ambitious. He sold his dog, then went to buy his dog back. He took chances and he climbed the industry. He's completely self-made. He's like this and turned himself into like a super rich and famous guy, made all these movies. And that is the exact opposite of Tom Papa. And what Tom Papa represents, that whole it's the creation, guys like that.
It's called the sassy man.
It's not he's a little bit he's not sassy enough is the problem. Mm-hmm. The problem is that it's a psyop on men.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like if you're 40 and you just want to curl up with an Afghan, you're dead. Do you understand?
I mean, listen, once in a while I do, but when I'm not.
No, but that's not what he said. He goes, now that I'm in my 30s,
that's all he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to make men into.
Just to give you context, when I said that to you, because I was making tea for myself, I'm I'm what they call an introvert. So when I'm in crowds, like I went to this industry event, I can only stand to be in crowds for so long, and then when I get I come home, I need to literally like decompress and release all that crappy energy that I just absorbed from these crowds, and I'm just like at home and I'm just making some tea, and it made me think of that stupid skit. But I'm in no way, shape, or form that guy. But it is nice.
You know
sometimes.
You know what I realized something recently.
Mm-hmm.
I also when I hear people say introvert, my reflex is to say, oh yeah, me too. But here's what I realized: I am not an introvert at all.
You're not an introvert.
The crowd hates
You're a misanthrope.
me.
No, I'm kidding.
No, the crowd hates me because eventually, right? Because most people cannot, like, I come off as abrasive because I refuse to put on like a fake voice and a fake kind of like demeanor.
Yeah.
And I'm not polite in company. I'll say
Yeah.
exactly what I feel needs to be said, and most people they literally can't tolerate that. So
no, they can't.
the crowd, the crowd like gives me the old heave ho, and that's why I don't like crowds, because they don't like me.
Yeah. But with that said, man, I feel like it's interesting the circles that I operate in. I mentioned to you the wine industry and all that kind of stuff. It seems like, and it's funny, it seems like a lot of people do appreciate at least authenticity, if nothing else. They do. It's better.
Some people do.
Some people do. It's better to be like that than to be all like what I call business casual behavior.
Bro, you know what I'm like? I'm like the Anthony Mason of people.
Oh yeah, Anthony Mason. He's always fighting.
Yeah, you can't take him anywhere.
Folks, I want to show you who Anthony Mason. This is, dude. This guy played for the New York Knicks, and he used to me and my father. We used to crack up about Anthony Mason. You know why? He used to have this funny hair, the fade haircut, and after every game they used to interview him on the court, and he would just be like, first of all, I just want to thank God. I just want to thank God. Yeah. Yeah. This is. Oh, he passed away actually, which is kind of sad, but
not too long ago, like 2 years ago.
Dude, this guy was like the epitome. He used to play pickup games on the West 4th Street, like in the Village courts.
Yeah.
And like, yo, he was the epitome of what the Knicks were, what just basketball was at that time, which is it says a skilled tough guy. So enforcer, yeah. That's funny.
Should have played hockey.
Well, it's funny. He used to show up at the Ranger games that year they won the cup. He used to wear the Ranger jerseys and sit there and watch.
I did not know that.
250 pounds and built, and he did what you'd expect someone like that to do, whether it was corralling rebounds or bullying a defender down low. But it didn't stop there, as even at his size, he could handle the ball as well as some guards and had great court vision. So whether he was pushing the ball in transition or operating from the post, he was a threat to score or find the open man. But where he made his money was on the defensive end. His deceptive quickness and agility gave him the ability to defend smaller guards, while his size and strength made him a brick wall down low. And he showcased these abilities for over a decade as one of the league's top defensive players, who consistently drew the opposing team's best player. He never had gaudy steal or block numbers, as his impact came by how difficult he made life for his opponent. And he also spent his best years as one of many elite defenders on great New York Knicks teams. And the bigger names on those teams tend to get the recognition more often. Having an all-world defender coming off your bench is a luxury all teams wish.
Anyway, dude, this guy, like, it was like him, if you talk about the Knicks, him, Charles Oakley, and Ewing, and like, good luck getting to the basket, man. Good luck scoring.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's when we watch basketball. Today you can't. It's unwatchable. It's not watchable. It's not whatever's out there, whatever the product is that you watch and you turn on TV, you watch basketball. That ain't it.
Yeah,
No.
and I feel that way about hockey too, man.
It depends.
I experienced it with you, man. When we went to see the Panthers game, it just looked like a bunch of kids playing well.
So because it was them. It depends who you're watching, but yeah, it is way different than what it for sure. It's different, and I can say this as
like
a person.
Like Anthony Mason, he could have played. He could have been in Slapshot.
Yeah,
like he's one of those guys.
Listen,
Dr. Hook.
Dude, remember that? Yeah, listen, remember that video that I sent you of the 1996 World Cup of Hockey when America played Canada? And it says it looks like a different game, and it just looks like football on skates. But like, that's when I started playing ice hockey in high school, and that's what I had to kind of contend with, even in high school, with guys like that. Like just stuff that today would be like a automatic penalty or this or that. It's just it was a man's game, Even if you're 17, it's a man's game.
Hey, in Patrice O'Neal's last big stand-up, which is 2000, Elephant in the Room, it's 2011, and 2011, I can't believe it, it was 13 years ago, and he's like, y'all notice how football is like gay now?
Yeah, they got the pink stuff and the pink this.
He goes, when I was playing, because he played football, he was a high school football star.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He goes, we used to we were killers, we were like, we were like wear the socks of a dude who got paralyzed in the previous game.
Yeah.
The next game.
No, here, this is a 2-minute clip. He's talking about this.
Yeah.
I can show the folks at home. It's actually hilarious. Actually, it's pretty bad, but it's like.
I'm irrelevant. How old are you, bro? 35. 5 years. How you feeling? You feeling all right? You feel like these young guys are, you're a football fan? All your whole life? You notice how football's whack now? Things are changing. It seems like, look, this may be old thinking, okay? Now, when I came up, you a football fan? No. He's not. Like, what dude? Like, that shocked me. Like, dudes are a football fan. Oh, I don't just live about it. Like, football, it's not like the game. When I came up, dude, football was it was gladiators. It was angry. It was just like when we hit somebody, when I played, if you hit somebody and he didn't get up, like we didn't hold hands with the other team and pray, like hold hands and everyone prays for him to get up. We used to do a Indian, sell a hump dance circle. I'm like, man, oh. Be like, and our crowd's like, he's paralyzed. That's right. Oh. We be looking for his mother crying. Be like, that's right, lady. That's what you get for letting him out here with killers. He can't even wiggle his toes. Take his socks. We would tie his socks around our helmet for the next week. Like the next team, they knew, that's the team that be tying paralyzed niggas' socks around their helmets to scare them next week. And then it ain't like we were thinking about harming somebody. It's just that's what we did, right? Look at this guy. Look at this fucking crew right here. You guys are hilarious. You okay, guys? All right.
It's basically what it was.
And but when you cut it off, he continues. He goes, he's talking to those guys, and he's like, "You guys big football fans?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I don't think so. I just saw me tease that guy, so now you're scared."
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Oh man, I used to play football.
Listen, I used to play with my friends after school, but I never went out for the team because I remember.
I went out for JV, tight end. Yeah, I mean, then I went to yeshiva afterwards, and I just played football. But yeah, I mean, I had some size,
Dude, there was a kid. I remember this is skinny Israeli kid, and he went out for in freshman football, in high school.
He probably tried for wide receiver, right?
And he tried for wide receiver, and they have him do the what's called a box pattern, where you go straight and then you go right angle left, let's say, or right. And when he did the box pattern, you're going through the middle. And when he caught the ball, and then this guy who ended up being like the star, whatever, linebacker, safety, whatever. This is in the tryouts. Just clocked the guy, the skinny Israeli kid.
You mean he tackled him?
He sent him into next week. This giant Irish kid, Donahue something, who ended up being like the running back and the linebacker and the this and the that, just beast. And then it's like, and everybody, it's crazy. It's like he sent the guy next week, and then everybody was like, "Did you hear how he sent so and so?" And everybody's making fun of the Israeli kid. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this Israeli kid is tiny, and you guys are making fun of him. You should be saying that he's got balls just for even going across the middle, even in a tryout, and catching the ball and not dying after being sent to the next week. Like he was still alive. He didn't go to the hospital. But after that, me and some friends realized, yo man, like if you're not jacked, don't like. And I was playing hockey already at the time, so hockey was a little bit different sport. It's a little bit different, not too different.
Look, there's certain realities out there, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying everyone, but look, it's fairly common to run into an Irish kid who doesn't like Jews. That's my experience.
Also, that was the case there. Yeah.
Hang on. So why would you think that you can be skinny and go out and make yourself prey for dudes who hate you and are much bigger than you? Why wouldn't they hurt you? Like, where's the premise? So you get jacked, and then you can contend with them. But why would you go out there? I don't understand that shit.
Yeah. Well, he thought he was fast, and also he was good at Madden. He was good at the video game Madden. He was just like, I could do this. Boom. He caught the ball.
All right, but there's more to catching the ball.
Exactly.
You also have to survive getting tackled.
I also feel like the coach set him up. Also, the coach was just like, let's see what he does in a box pattern.
Yeah, he was the rabbit. They threw him to the wolves.
Crazy, man. Whatever.
And I'm not even gonna say they shouldn't do that because that's their nature.
Yeah.
I'm saying we got to be aware of what's gonna happen and prepare accordingly. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. So I just stuck to hockey, even though that wasn't any less, ostensibly dangerous. And
my brother played lacrosse.
Really? I always thought, to me, lacrosse was just like, it was the sport that the football players played in the spring. And it was, and it literally, it was like, that's what it was in my high school. And it was also just like, to me, I was like, I'm playing hockey already. Why the hell am I going to play lacrosse?
Dude, you know how hard that lacrosse ball is?
Oh, that thing is like a grenade.
I don't know. It's basically concrete. I don't understand why.
I don't know. But the goalies wear they wear like pounds of pads just to not die from being hit by that thing.
Yeah.
Lacrosse goalies. I mean, like, I don't know. My whole thing about lacrosse, I saw the games, and like I noticed two things: that the ball, and also that the defender gets to just whack you, and there's no penalty, just like whack, 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 whack. And I'm just like, I would probably decapitate a dude if he did that to me like 10 times in a row. I was like, I can't play this sport. Just run around being whacked all the time. Like, yo, I get whacked enough in hockey as it is. Like, it's like whatever.
We should have seen when you were down here. We got to go see highlight.
Oh, that thing is nuts. That sport.
Yeah.
Like Cuban or something like that, or Spanish.
As far as I understand, it comes from Cuba.
Yeah.
And it had like to do with like dudes who they would harvest like some kind of fruit, maybe orange or something like that, and they would like lob it, far because big groves and whatever. I think
it means merry festival in Basque, like the Basque language.
So I guess it's a Basque.
It's something from Spain, but then it went over to, I guess, Latin America, different places. It's actually like a lot of rich people play it in Miami, like rich, wealthy kind of Latinos. Interesting sport.
It is a dangerous sport.
Yes. Yes. Balls flying at you. Anyway. All right, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.
Thank you for those of you that did. We appreciate it.
God willing, Paul will.
Are people watching? Do we have?
No, they are. We have a good amount of views now on Cloud Hub. It just got it's went up to like 15,000. Hopefully, probably go up to more. And Paul, our friend Paul, should see success.
Amen.
Finally.
And safety.
Yes. Be safe. And interesting to see what's going to happen after this.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.